Good morning and welcome to our 160th weekly webcast. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way the call works is this is an AMA. You can ask me anything. You can ask me business questions, career questions, personal questions, etc. Now, as you can see at the bottom here of the screen, let me fix my microphone here. As you can see at the bottom of the screen there, I've got this announcement that our next gold and platinum MBA program, it goes live. We start on January 10th, 2022. And if you want to join us, please go to this website here, and I'll go there with you quickly, and then we'll start the show. All right, so if you want, what you can do is go directly to Haroun Education, hold on a second, Haroun education.com/MBA now. That's all lowercase. All right. And when you're here, you'll see that I have a sale for the next 4 days. If you join my MBA program, the live one where I teach starting on January 10th, 2022, you can get $500 off. So you can join the live gold version, which is $500 off for the next 4 days for $1,000, or live platinum, which is $2,000. That's $500 off. And let me explain the difference between these two quickly, and then we'll start the show. Okay, and I'm doing something a little different here in my studio. I moved my camera slightly, so I'm trying to adjust here. But so the way it works is it's over 300 hours of lessons for both gold and platinum, plus more than 200 hours of live Q&A with me. And also, you get a number of one-on-one calls with me. And so I coach you one-on-one using Zoom, confidential career coaching, and they're spread out over the year. And so if you sign up for gold, you get 3 of them, okay? Usually you don't get any with gold. And with platinum, you get 9 usually, plus 3 additional ones, okay? And so this is part of the limited time offer we have right now. And so if you click here on Live Gold, you can purchase it, and you can buy it in one payment, or you can do it in 3 different payments. And if you go to the link at the bottom of the screen there below my head here to get here. But if you go to Live Platinum, you can join for $2,000. That's $500 off. Or you can do 3 payments as well. Now, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee after we start. And what that means is this. If you buy today and in the next 4 days, you get your money back all the way up to 30 days after we start, which means about 90 days from today. So you get your money back between today, 100%, between today and February 10th. And so there's a limited number of spots. Would love to have you join us. It's a lot of fun. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. If you scroll down this page, you can see a lot of testimonials as well from various students that have taken the program in the past and are currently enrolled right now. Plus, there's a number of special bonuses you'll receive for free, including my new options course coming out any day now, and much, much more. My team and I have been working very hard on this. Very proud of my team. They've done a great job this year. Every year they do a great job. All right, so check it out if you want to. You can go down to the link you see at the bottom there. It's all lowercase, harounventures.com /early access, or you can go to MBA now. It's the same thing, all lowercase. All right, let's get started. I don't know if I'm digging this new camera angle. I've got it set up so I'm over here. Feels a little bit different. I don't know if I like change. Okay. All right, let me get to your questions. All right, so, and actually, I will get to all your questions, I promise you, but what I also want to do is show you what the components are of the MBA program in case you have any questions. So let me kick it off with the entrepreneurship portion of the program. There's 5 different pillars. I'll give you a quick peek here of the entrepreneurship portion of the program. And of course, I'll take all your questions today. There's 5 pillars. The first one is entrepreneurship. And there's a Venture Capital Bootcamp as well as part of this of the program in the entrepreneurship track. So let's check it out. Over the last decade, there's been an explosion of entrepreneurship with the advancement of technology. The amazing thing is that anybody can start companies now with very little capital and in any country. But sadly, most of these businesses will fail within 2 years. Now, the difference between success and failure is planning and execution. because failing to plan is planning to fail. In the entrepreneurship track, we have what I call our Venture Capital Bootcamp. I guide you through all the practical steps that you need to grow your existing company or launch a new company, including raising money, creating a rock-solid go-to-market business strategy, building your management team, determining the product and or service that you're selling, and creating financial statements the easy way. I have a lot of experience with venture capital, as I've participated as a teacher and a keynote speaker at venture capital events all over the world, including judging business models on many occasions at the Stanford University Graduate School of Business. In the entrepreneurship track of the program, you are given many up-to-date and easy-to-use templates for writing a business plan, including finding your customers, researching your competition, and securing the necessary financials to ensure your company's success. This section is jam-packed with practical skills and knowledge that will give graduates the upper hand in the new economy. Students are provided with the step-by-step lessons to launch and execute a successful business idea that will thrive today and in the future. If you've ever dreamed of starting your own business, you'll be armed with the essential tools needed to ensure success. Learn why relationships are more important than product knowledge, and together, let's build your business empire. I'll see you in the program. Thank you. Okay, and I've got a question here from Venki, who wrote, I joined the MBA class 6 months ago. Will I be able to join this live MBA class as well? Do I need to sign up again for the live MBA? Great question. So you signed up for the silver version of the MBA. The gold and platinum, which we also call live gold and live platinum now, it starts on January 10th, 2022. We'd love to have you join us. And you get a discount for however much you paid for that program. And so it includes the $500 discount, which you can also get right here at this link. Okay, so if you want more details on the coupon and upgrading from silver to gold or platinum, please email me at support@harounventures.com and I'll get right back to you. Yeah. So, and if anybody has other questions about this, please let me know. And by the way, so there's 100 classes, they're 3 hours each. And after each class, there's a very short quiz. It takes you a couple minutes. And there's 100 quizzes. And in order to pass the program and get your degree, all you have to do is take at least 50 of the quizzes and get over 50%. Now, the way I've set this up is I feel like I'm a waiter, hopefully a waiter with half decent food. Can't even open it right this morning. And so when you go to a restaurant, you can see the entire menu and you order a couple of items. And that's how this MBA is set up as well. This is your MBA in your terms. You have a menu of different lectures you can take, or sections, or careers even, and you just pick what's of most interest and applicable to you. And so the MBA program, again, there's 100 classes, 3 hours each. And in order to get the degree, all you have to do is pass half of the short quizzes. That's 50 quizzes. It's pretty easy. You get access forever as well. And I'm constantly adding many new hours every single year. I'm about to add about 30 new hours in the next couple of days to it as well, which is going to be the comprehensive version of my options course. I have a shorter version of the course coming out as well, which I hope you enjoy. And the MBA is always going to be up to date. If there are new social media technologies or distribution channels in business that become relevant in the future, I'll talk about that and add a course on that and many lectures on that to the program. Again, it's a one-time payment. You get everything forever from me for free. Yeah, after you make that payment. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. All right. Apologize if I seem a little bit tired right now. I've been working 24/7 on putting the options portion of that options course I'm making in the MBA degree program. You guys are going to love it. And options are great because it's not just offensive, meaning you make money from stocks going up. You can make a lot of money from stocks going down as well, or you can make money from stocks not moving at all when it comes to options, using what's called an iron condor or an iron butterfly, which I teach in a lot of detail in the program. All right, cool. So if anybody has questions about that, let me know, please. And of course, ask me questions about anything you want to as well. Now, before I take more of your non-MBA related questions, I want to go through quickly the other 4 components of the MBA program. The first one we just watched was Entrepreneurship, of which the Venture Capital Bootcamp is part of it, which is a lot of fun. And it's based on my work experience working in the venture capital sector and actually working with boot camps as well. And I've advised many startups over the years. As part of Stanford's MBA degree curriculum, I was brought onto campus many times to guest lecture in venture capital classes. And I also mentored many MBA students at Stanford, current students and graduates on campus as part of their curriculum with their business models as well. And so everything I've learned in my career, I teach you in a lot of detail based on my practical experience, not based on theory, in the MBA degree program, which I hope you really enjoy. Okay, so the second of 5 components is finance and accounting. And I've worked on Wall Street at Goldman Sachs. I have an MBA in finance from Columbia University. I've also worked at a big hedge fund called Citadel. I've started my own hedge fund. I worked in venture capital as well. And so everything I've learned about finance in my career, I'm making available for all of you to learn about in the finance and accounting track portion of the MBA program. Here's a short video on that, and please keep typing your questions. Thank you. Do you want to learn all of the practical finance and accounting skills that you need to be successful in a really fun way from scratch? In this track, we cover everything from managing your personal finances to even starting a hedge fund and everything in between. I teach you the basics and the advanced ways to analyze and value companies, create a diversified investment portfolio. I also teach you how to invest in stocks, bonds, commodities, real estate, and even advanced options topics covering derivatives, investing in options, future swaps, and much more. And I promise you that I will explain it all in a fun and easy to understand way from scratch. You will learn how to use my VFT, meaning Valuation, Fundamentals, and Technicals Investment Research Framework that uses my specially designed 100-step process and comprehensive, brand new state-of-the-art investment template to research and analyze stocks to ensure that you can pick profitable investments in the long run. When you finish this track, you will be able to manage portfolios like a professional by using the many financial models and frameworks I provide you with to outperform your competition, regardless of whether it's your own money, your client's money, or corporate or government portfolios. This track is so comprehensive and enjoyable. You can go from being financially illiterate to a savvy professional investor in practically no time at all with the methods that you'll learn to use in these easy to apply lessons. It's never too late to learn how to invest in your future. So please check it out. We can't wait to have you join us. Thank you. Now, inside my MBA degree program, I provide you with all the tools and frameworks that you need to value companies, start a company, create financial models, etc. I help you work smarter and not harder by providing you with all the tools. And so again, if you sign up today and in the next couple of days, there's a number of bonuses you get as well. You can go to this web address here, harounventures.com/early access to check it out. The additional bonuses include a $500 off coupon, plus you get access to an additional 3 one-on-one confidential Zoom meetings with me, where I humbly help you and coach you with your career. And so go to this link here, and you can read the student testimonials as well if you're interested. Now, a couple more things, 3 more parts to the MBA program, and then I'll take the rest of your questions here. Again, ask me questions about the MBA program or anything you want to as well. Now, the third of 5 components of the MBA program is something called EMS, which stands for Economics Management and Strategy, where I teach you how to manage people, scale a business, learn strategy frameworks that companies like McKinsey and other consulting firms use. I used to work at a consulting firm called Accenture or Accenture years ago. I'm just kidding, they're a great company. And so I've added all those frameworks as well for you. Plus, I teach you about economics and nothing bogus theory-wise, meaning no supply and demand graphs, which nobody uses in the real world unless you're an economist anyway. And we also do an amazing case study, a lot of real case studies, but a pretend one that I created for you of Apple potentially buying Nintendo. And I made this next lecture you're going to see. I made that the curriculum using Super Mario Maker 2 with my kids, my 3 kids. It was a lot of fun. You'll see in a second. And what I'm also doing, and I've been working on, and I can't release much details right now, is a metaverse version of the MBA program coming soon. I've been working on this for 2 years behind the scenes so that you'll be able to network with your colleagues, meaning current MBA students in my program and graduates using AR and VR. It's coming soon, working very, very hard on it. We have an amazing network of alumni. They're very close to each other. They help each other out a lot. And I encourage you to reach out to any alumni you see from my program. We have several hundred, I think 350 people that have graduated already from gold and platinum over the past 2 years, and many more that did silver as well. And we start year 3 on January 10th of 2022. Check it out at the link below. Here's the economics management and strategy portion of the program. And you'll see gamification in it. And you'll see the case study on Nintendo potentially getting acquired by Apple. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy this short video here. Thanks. Inside the economics management and strategy section of the Haroun MBA degree program, we focus on teaching relevant information for the real world. We also examine how governments affect the economy and what that means for investors. In addition, we analyze successful companies and industry leaders' best practices, which you can apply to your career to take your career to the next level. We'll also learn everything there is to know about cryptocurrencies when we take a deep dive into the topic and consider what impact they will have on the financial systems in the future. This section is full of relevant case studies, including Apple potentially buying Nintendo. This section also includes many frameworks and research systems that graduates always rave about that have taken this program, because it provides them with actionable lessons that they can put into use right away to greatly impact their future wealth. We also discuss in an entertaining and educational way fiscal policy, monetary policy, international trade, how to manage and motivate people, and so much more. So take control of your financial future. Success is closer than it seems. Join us now and learn how to achieve your future dreams faster. I'll see you on the inside of the program. Thank you. So we had so much fun making those lectures. Again, my kids are a bit older now. Looks like we're all matching in blue today, but they're a bit older now, but we had a lot of fun making that. And again, I am making a metaverse version of the program as well. We'll see how it works out. It's something I've been working hard on. I hope you enjoy it. Now, got a comment here from Nabaisa who wrote, hi, Chris. Hey, I've upgraded to gold. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Awesome. I'm looking forward to joining you and meeting with you and working with you as well, starting on January 10th. And we also have for gold and platinum students, graduates, and current students or students joining next year, we have an annual alumni event here in the San Francisco Bay Area. You can come in person, spend the weekend with myself and, more importantly, your fellow classmates, or you can watch a webcast version of it. We're going to live stream. And I rented probably my favorite museum on the West Coast for it as well. It's going to be a massive event. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's on Saturday, December 18th. Again, if you're in gold or platinum, if you're an alumni, or if you're buying for next year, in year 3, you can join us as well. It's going to be a blast, I promise you. So Nabaisa said, I've upgraded to gold, and I thank you for it. I thank you for it, please. Thank you. And I always treat my students like they're the customer. Always. Imagine that, a teacher treating a student like a customer. I'll walk through walls for you, buddy. I'll walk through walls for all my students. I'll do whatever it takes to make you successful or your money back. Again, there's a money back guarantee. If you buy today at the link below, the money back guarantee lasts for 30 days after the program starts. So that means you get your money back all the way through February 10th. So you got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Yeah. And the cost of our program is the same cost of 1 or 2 hours of a traditional MBA program. We have Ivy League MBA graduates in the program. They've already taken MBAs from top Ivy League schools and other schools. And they always tell me that they've learned more in the first month in the program than they have from their MBA, because ours is more up to date, it's more current. Yeah. Okay. And if anybody is curious about my long-term thoughts on the education sector and disruption and the role that Elon Musk is going to play, then you can check out my TEDx talk that I gave about 5 years ago. Just search for it on YouTube. And everything I talked about in my forecast of the future of education is coming true today. It's amazing. And things are happening much faster than I expected because of COVID. COVID has brought my vision of the world when it comes to education forward by about 10 or 20 years. So things are happening fast. I think that in my lifetime, only 50 universities are going to be in business, will survive in the long run, because education's broken. And it doesn't make sense to pay $100,000 for a 4-year education or a 2-year education in master's programs when they teach you theoretical stuff you can't apply in the real world. It doesn't make sense at all. Yeah. So education hasn't kept up with the times. And even like MBA schools especially, they teach you stuff that was maybe relevant last century. It's ridiculous. And traditional MBA schools don't teach you the most important skills that I teach you. They don't teach you how to sell yourself. They don't teach you how to raise money. They don't teach you how to get a job. They don't teach you how to start a business. It's true. They don't teach you how to start a business. And they don't teach you how to manage your own money. They teach you how to manage other people's money. It's a flawed system. It's overpriced, and it's my humble mission in life to do something about it, which is why we're here today. Okay. All right, 2 more portions of the MBA program, short videos here, and then I'll get to the rest of your questions. Again, if you have questions about the MBA program, type them now, or questions about anything. This is your time. Okay, so the fourth of 5 components is called sales, marketing, and communications. 2 of the most important skills you need to succeed in your career are the ability to sell and the ability to market yourself. But traditional MBAs place very little, if any, emphasis on this area. They're stuck teaching theories that no longer have any relevance in modern society. In this section of the program called Sales, Marketing, and Communications, you'll learn how to sell, including your products, your services, and most importantly, yourself. I will teach you frameworks for qualifying your leads more effectively, along with an assortment of tips, tools, and techniques that you can use to elevate the value of your offer to your current or potential customers. I will teach you how to sell better than anybody you know. You'll also learn how to communicate effectively during meetings and during presentations, as well as how to appeal to your customers' emotions and how to use empathy as your secret weapon. Inside this track of the program, you'll learn all of the skills needed to navigate the modern business landscape and succeed in any job. Don't sell yourself short. Learn how to get what you're worth. Come and check it out for yourself. Thank you. So the best entrepreneurs and CEOs in the world, they're great salespeople. And I teach you how to sell yourself as well, and how to present with passion and everything you need to know about communications in business in my MBA degree program. And while I was watching that video, it just struck me. I'm so proud of my team. We've accomplished so much. They've accomplished so much over the past couple of years here. This program cost over $1 million to put together. It's been incredibly successful, and I'm very proud of them. And so big shout out to my partner in my company, Matt Lacousse, my Chief Creative Officer, has done a great job. Doug up in Canada as well. Jean-Marco in Canada. I have a lot of Canadians on the payroll, as well as my sales and marketing team, Joey and Joe and Cassandra and Lionel, as well as John Klee, who I met on this weekly webcast in week 10. I hired him. He's helping out a lot as well. He's amazing. John, you're an amazing buddy. And Daniil as well, who's been with me since the start. And Daniil is my TA when I taught at several Bay Area universities in MBA school and undergraduate business as well. And he was the reason, I think, why I got the award for Top Finance Professor of the Year at one of the universities. And so, Daniil, you did a great job. I love all of my team members. They're amazing. None of this would have been possible without them. And I also want to give a big shout out to Christina Hong, who's in my MBA program this year. She's part of the team. She's helped out tremendously. Even though she's not on the payroll, she's been amazing. She's been great. The sense of community we have with our employees here and our students is off the charts. It's amazing. So I'm very proud and grateful today and always to my amazing team. Yeah. Okay. All right. And Cassandra as well. I can't remember if I mentioned her. She's awesome as well up in Canada. All right. So this is the last component of the MBA program I'm going to show you right now. And then I'll take the rest of your questions. And so, as I mentioned before, if you want to sign up for the program, you can go to this web address right over here. I've moved my studio around a bit, so I'm not sure if I like this new look here. You can check it out. You get your money back between today, if you buy, between today and 30 days after we start, meaning over 90 days. You get your money back 100%. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. The spots are filling up quickly, especially for Platinum, because I have limited availability to do one-on-ones throughout the year. If you sign up, you get one-on-ones with me on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, spread out throughout the year next year. I promise you it's worth your while. It's a lot of fun. All right, so the very last track that I want to talk about quickly before taking the rest of your questions is the personal growth track. And this is my favorite part of the MBA program. Again, there's 5 pillars. This is the last one, personal growth. And it's certainly not something taught in traditional MBA schools. I help you reinvent yourself. I help you become much more productive as well and accomplish much, much more every single day as well. So here it is. It's called the personal growth track. Thank you. Welcome to the personal growth track of the program, where you will develop a crystal clear image of the person and future you truly desire. You will learn how to identify and create a blueprint for the future that you want. Now, in this track, you will redefine your image of yourself and grow your confidence by pushing your limits. You'll also be able to market yourself far more effectively because you will have developed the inner belief that fuels your dreams. You will gain improved communication skills that will have a lasting positive impact, both personally and professionally, for the rest of your life, so that you can get the dream job or change careers or get promoted and so much more. Get the confidence and tools you need to create the life that you want. Make the best decision you can make for your future and join me. Thank you. So I'd love to have you sign up and join us. Again, we start on January 10th, 2022. You can get the details right here. There's a money-back guarantee. We'd love to have you join us. And we've passed a couple of pretty amazing milestones. The most recent one is we've sold more than $10 million worth of my courses on all platforms combined. It's been great. It's been fun. And again, I couldn't have done it without the incredible work and dedication of my amazing team. Yeah. All right. And if this is helpful, click like and subscribe. We're coming up on a smaller milestone, which is 50,000 subscribers. And I'm very proud to say that we've done it without taking a single sponsorship from anybody. It's slower growth, but if I take sponsorships from companies, etc., then what happens is I put the companies first and you second. You always come first. And this was confidential last year, but I'll disclose it. But last year I was in discussions actually 2 years ago, discussions with Forbes to make my program, the Haroun MBA degree program, the Forbes Haroun MBA degree program. I'm glad I didn't do that. I'm glad I wasn't seduced by sponsorships. Again, I've never taken sponsorships. I'll never do it. You'll notice on my channel, we're 100% focused on you, the consumer, the customer. And the reason why I do that also is You can get seduced by big corporations by accepting sponsorships. But what happens is it biases you in terms of who comes first, who's the customer, the corporates or you, the student. For example, if you go to IGN's website or any video game website, you'll notice that they usually say really good things about Microsoft products, like every version of Halo, which used to be good, it's not good anymore. And it's because Microsoft's a big advertiser and sponsor. I'll never do that. I'll put the student first always. And yes, it hurts our growth, but I don't care because I'm very long-term focused and long-term greedy when it comes to helping my students, all of you. Yeah. All right, the most important stuff. I am going to start here with Majed. Majed wrote, hey Chris, hey Majed, how are you? A quick question for you. I was hoping you might share your opinion on Disney, ticker DIS. Although the price has plummeted in the aftermath of ER, the company's future does not appear to be as gloomy. Yeah. So I love buying broken stocks. So I pride myself on buying broken stocks, but not broken companies. And I don't think that Disney is broken by any means. And I hope the stock gets absolutely crushed more so than it already has, so I can back up the truck and buy more. And so whenever you look at a company that gets murdered after earnings, you got to ask yourself, are people being too emotional about the sell-off? And quite often in business, as Dale Carnegie said, people are creatures of emotion instead of creatures of logic. And people panic when it comes to negative news in the markets. And that's great for us because it creates an opportunity. And as Warren Buffett said, you got to be greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy. Because if you buy the same stock that everybody already loves, then there's not that many incremental investors to push it higher. And so you got to take a step back and ask yourself, in 5 years, will this company or sector be more relevant or less relevant than it is today? Well, I think in 5 years, Disney's going to be more relevant. You know, their online streaming service is taking a bit of a hit. Like Peloton's taking a hit because people are going back to work and not working from home as much post-COVID. And so I see an opportunity longer term. I love Disney. I love their franchises. I think that they bought LucasArts years ago, back in 2013 or so, for next to nothing at $4 billion. They got access to all the Indiana Jones movies, Star Wars franchise, etc. for next to nothing. I'm bullish on Disney longer term. And the problem with the stock market in general, again, is people put their emotions first. And it was Warren Buffett who said that the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. Think about that. And so the best time to buy stocks is always when people are freaking out. And there's something I talk a lot about in my my upcoming options course, which is coming out any day now, which is the VIX. And I'm going to show you the best indicator for when to buy stocks. Okay, and I promise you this always works. I put my reputation on the line as always on this. So you got to buy when people are freaking out, right? So I'm not a net buyer of stocks right now, obviously. I usually buy when everybody thinks the world is coming to an end. And so I want to show you here the Chicago Board of Exchange Volatility Index. And what this does, and again, this will tell you exactly when to buy stocks. What this does is this measures the amount of volatility or fear in the markets, okay? And whenever there's a lot of fear, volatility is high, and that's when you buy. And so what happened was back in 1990, the CBOE released this index. Okay, it's a volatility index, the VIX, and it measures what the market thinks volatility is going to be in the S&P 500 in the next 30 days. And so it was launched back in 1990, and every chart tells a story. This will be fun. And so we saw a big spike here initially. Let me get rid of this box. Right here, this is Gulf War I. I remember it was December of 1990, so the market freaked out a bit. Then we saw another spike here in 98 with the Asian financial crisis. And then after 9/11, obviously we saw a spike here. And then we saw a big spike here in 2008 when we were within 24 hours of bank machines not working. And this is the time to buy when it spikes a lot, okay? And then it spiked again, and you can't really see this, but it actually reached an intraday high of over 80 back in March of 2020. And this is when Elon Musk, he's very unemotional about business, that's why he's successful. this is when he backed up the truck as well and bought more shares of Tesla. And so when the VIX spikes to above 70 or 80, and it doesn't happen that often, but that's when you back up the truck and buy. And I promise you that when you do it, it's going to feel like death. Like it's going to feel like the world is ending. And that's when you buy, because things are never as bad as they seem in finance. And also things are never as good as they seem. People get too emotional about stocks. That's when you back up the truck. And speaking of options and volatility, I have a course I'm most proud of coming out soon. It's called the Complete Options course. I have a much longer version, though, that's going to be in my MBA program. And if you've already purchased my MBA program over the past couple of years, I'll send you an email to let you know where in the curriculum I've added that as well. And for those of you doing gold and platinum, meaning live this year, we're going to cover that in class number 86 coming up soon. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Ali. Hey, Ali, how are you? Ali wrote, hi, all. If you ask your questions now, YouTube will delete them by the time Chris comes online. Kindly ask the questions at least 5 minutes before he shows up. Yeah, actually, the way it works is if you ask questions 5 hours before, it works. But aside from that, it gets cut off. And so last night when I was setting this up, there were a couple of questions. And so what I actually do is I leave the Q&A window open overnight here. I set up everything the night before. So if you do ask early, I usually catch them, but you're right. If you don't hear me answer your question and I read and answer the questions in the order in which I see them, then just paste it again, please. Yeah. All right. And by the way, whenever you paste in an internet link, YouTube will block it for some crazy reason. It is what it is. Yeah. So if you want to put a link, just spell it out. Like instead of CNN.com, do CNN space DOT space COM. Yeah. All right. Good to see you, Ali. All right, next up, I got Samir. Samir wrote, hey, Chris, good morning. Excited for today's webcast. Thank you. So am I. It's great to see you. Great to see you. Persona non grata, good morning to you as well. All right. And then Samir said, I learned so much and I stay up to date thanks to this weekly webcast. Thank you. That makes two of us. Because when one teaches, two learn. And the quality of questions I get from my students are amazing. And it keeps me up to date as well. I remember it was about a year ago, people started asking questions about NFTs. And I didn't know what the heck that was. So I had to do research on it. And by the way, if you're ever curious about my thoughts on anything, you can always go to my website. I've done over 10,000 questions I've answered live over the past couple of years, including this weekly webcast, as well as my MBA program. So you can go to my website, which is harounventures.com. And at the very top, you can ask me anything, right? So if you type up NFT, and this is a video that's made a lot of money for some reason on this one here on YouTube, even though I'm not sponsored by anybody, you can watch this. It teaches you everything you need to know about NFTs. Yeah. And then you can watch this weekly webcast too. This is Peyton Kalawahea, who's one of my amazing MBA students in my Platinum program this year. He is now a thought leader. Okay, like the Rodin sculpture. He's a thought leader, I think therefore I am, when it comes to NFTs. And he started this amazing company in my MBA program. It's all him, not me, obviously, called GameReport.io. And he is he vlogs a lot about this sort of thing, and he's got a massive following now because of this. Right, so Peyton, you inspire me, brother. And so you can go back and watch weekly webcast 155 where I interviewed Peyton. Again, he's a platinum student in my MBA degree program. He's awesome. He's in the United States Navy, based in San Diego. He spends a lot of time in Okinawa as well. He's awesome. And he was on my webcast yesterday. And if you want to watch the webcast about my MBA program, just go to my YouTube channel and you'll see it. But the bottom line is you can always go up here and search for anything I've talked about. I see questions about China real estate. Just do a search. I've answered those questions. And also, if you search for any other term, business term, not only can you see my vlogs about it over the years, but also if you're in my MBA program, I guess I mentioned the word income statement 6,000 times here. You can click here. And get access to where I talk about that in my program as well, if you signed up for the program, that is. Now, while I'm here, I want to show you the new version of our website, which is going to be deployed very, very soon. We're just beta testing it. Very proud of my team. Lionel and Joey done a great job. And so it's harounmba.com. We're modernizing our website finally. And so it's up to date. It's awesome. It's mobile enabled as well. I'm really proud of my team. They did a great job here as well. Yeah. All right. So you can check it out. You can check it out if you want to. Again, and you get access to a lot of stuff for free as well. Tons of free stuff, like how to grow your business, 8 tips for picking a stock, tons of free resources. Again, I'm very proud on what my team has done here with this as well. Don't buy my merch yet. I want to take that down and get better stuff. Okay, I'm not happy with the way the merch has turned out. All right, which is my fault. All right. All right. Next up, Kevin. Hey, Kevin, how are you? Kevin's in my MBA program. Great to see you. And so Kevin wrote here, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. I love Florida, man. My parents spend half the year down in Fort Lauderdale. They're snowbirds, which means they're from Canada, and they spend half the year down there in Lauderdale, which I love. Yeah, great to see you, Kevin. And I might move to Florida one day as well. One day. Tony Robbins did it. He used to live here on the West Coast in California. Taxes got high, and so he moved. And I'm thinking about it one day as well, but I can't do it for at least the next decade, because once COVID is done here, I live right by all these great tech companies. So I'm going to go down with my camera crew and stuff, and Matt, my team, and we're going to film what it's like to work at lots of different companies here, kind of like MTV Cribs, and I'll interview the who's who CEOs. I know many of them. I haven't interviewed them yet because I'm waiting for COVID. I don't want to just do Zoom. Yeah. All right. Next up, Hisham, how are you? Hisham, how are you? I should have thanked you as well, brother. Hisham used to work with me as well. And so shout out to Hisham, as well as to Wrigley Dutra, who worked with me at the beginning. Great guy. He's family. Yeah. Hisham, good to see you. So Hisham used to work with me. He was one of my students when I taught at university. He used to sit front row right. Always great questions. He took a little bit of time off to go back to Pakistan. And he's now working at Amazon. I hope you're doing well, brother. I miss you. I hope you're doing well. So Hisham wrote, hi, good morning, Chris. Hope all's well. Likewise, brother. All right, PNG is next, persona non grata. Hey, Chris, you recommended back up the truck when the VIX spikes. But where shall we store our money in the meantime? If it stocks, they will crash at the same time. We want to back up the truck. Yeah, I always have a lot of dry powder. And I have part of my portfolio in lower risk investments, value stocks, although I'm a growth investor. And so when the VIX spikes a lot, what I do is I use my dry powder to buy stocks. And I also sell my value stocks, which outperform massively. Yeah. Great question. Yeah. Okay. And Hisham wrote, I have a couple of questions if you indulge me. Brother, I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you. Yeah. And I miss teaching in class too. I don't do it anymore. I just teach online here. But I used to have massive classes. There was about 40 in the class I taught with you, but other classes I would have 70 or 80. It was fun. And I would walk around a lot and burn thousands of calories, whatever, take thousands of steps, I should say, during each session when I would teach during the evenings. I loved it. Yeah. And then persona non grata wrote, thankful yours, Chris. Likewise, thank you. All right, Samir wrote, I know you love Udemy, like most of us, and the IPO is out. What are your thoughts on the IPO? Yeah, it's a conflict of interest for me to be able to talk about that as well. I have said publicly before that Udemy is Google in EdTech. Udemy is Google and everyone else is Bing. Sorry, Microsoft. Yeah, but I can't talk about it. Yeah, and nobody told me not to talk about it. It's just me. Yeah, there's a conflict of interest. Yeah. All right. But I do own shares. Okay. Next up, Hisham wrote, and I'm very bullish in the company longer term. Hisham wrote, a few of my friends are trading oil CFDs. My understanding is very limited about these instruments. Is that something you recommend? Yeah. Oof. So Hisham, because you're alumni, meaning you used to work at my company, send me an email later and I'll send you my new derivatives and options course. It explains it in a lot more detail. It's hard for me to recommend it because I love investing in options from a neutral perspective, meaning writing options or selling them. So I make a little bit of money on every trade. I'm not a big proponent of just buying naked calls or naked puts. Yeah. So when you buy, give me one second, guys. Here. when you invest in options, I want you to think. I have so many props here, guys. All right. I want you to think like a casino does. And I teach you Monte Carlo simulation as well in the options course coming up, as well as valuing options using the binomial pricing theory, as well as Black-Scholes. We do a lot of work on Black-Scholes. But the reason why casinos make a lot of money, and this is how we have to think as investors in options, is because they make money 51% of the time. And they do their small bets. And they usually don't allow people in casinos to make massive bets because from a risk management perspective, that will break the house. The house, that's how we say in Canada. And so I want you to do small bets when it comes to options. Never have more than 1% of your portfolio in any options instrument. And I want you to thoroughly understand what options assignment means, okay? As well as what it means to have to exercise your options if you own them past the expiration date, or short them if it's a put. So be really, really careful. Again, what I'll do, cheap toy, sorry, is you can send me a message and I'll send you my new options and derivative course very soon. Yeah. All right. All right. And then Hisham wrote, I also want to learn more about options and trading. How do you view that? Because most traders I know don't have day jobs. Yeah. Yeah. So again, you want to think like a casino and small bets. And I talk about option writing, and options writing, shorting, and selling is the same thing. But I talk about option writing in a lot of detail in the course. And it's not something I can explain right away because there's a lot of different components. And the way I teach it is we start with a lot of different building blocks. And this is just a prop from yesterday's webcast when I was teaching about an income statement, revenue, earnings, top line, bottom line. But I use a lot of props as well. And I explain things one block at a time in terms of volatility, implied volatility, historical volatility, as well as American style versus European style options. And then I give you 35 different option strategies we walk through in a lot of detail, including options that contain 4 options in one strategy, meaning iron condors and iron butterflies, back spreads with calls, front spread with calls, puts, etc. I go into a lot more detail, but it's something I teach one block at a time, so to speak. And when I went to Columbia for my MBA in finance 8 million years ago, I got the top grade in my class in options. However, it was so theoretical, I didn't really get it. And it wasn't until I worked in the hedge fund industry for years that I finally understood how all this stuff works. And so again, there's more than 35 different option strategies I teach you in a lot of detail in my upcoming options course. And a longer version of that's going to be added earlier for my MBA students as well in the MBA program. Yeah. Great to see you, brother. Okay. And then Hisham wrote, P.S. Can one be a trader and an investor at the same time? I view myself as a long-term investor, but when you see people making a killing in trading, the fear of missing out kicks in. Be careful of that. And I say with love in my heart, brother. FOMO is deadly. FOMO standing for fear of missing out when it comes to investing. Yeah. So what I love to look at, and I showed you a video earlier about the finance and accounting track of my MBA degree program. Whenever I look at investments, I look at FVT in this order. F is fundamentals, V is valuation, T is technicals. And I do look at technical analysis, and I do teach about it because it is helpful when deciding when to buy a stock or add to an existing long-term position, or when to trim some profits. Yeah. And so, yeah, I've done a heck of a lot of trading in my days. But what I do find is that in a portfolio in a given year, most of the profits come from 1 or 2 positions, and all the other silly trading is kind of a rounding error. And whenever you try to invest in companies just to make 5, 10, or 15%, it's so hard through trading because we get fooled by randomness. Markets go up and down for things out of our control, like geopolitical events or saber rattling between, say, I don't know, DC and Beijing, or Moscow and Riyadh when it comes to the price of oil, etc. So just be really, really careful with that. Yeah. Think long term. I promise you it helps a lot. I promise you. Yeah. And this is not a normalized market. And it worries me that a lot of people are quitting their jobs and becoming traders. Please tell me, anybody in this webcast, the name of a successful trader. What are their names? We don't know because they don't exist in the long run. They don't. It's hard. And this is not a normalized market. I mean, having 6% inflation and the Federal Reserve keeping rates unchanged is not normal. It's not normal. It's because of COVID too, because they have no idea what the next version of COVID is going to do to the economy. And so they're thinking, the Federal Reserve and central banks all over the world, well, if we leave rates at zero, yeah, inflation is bad, but if we raise rates too early, it could crush the economy. And we have no idea about the next variants when it comes to COVID. Yeah. Just be careful. Yeah. Now, in terms of calling market peaks and market troughs, it's impossible. And I remember years ago, I worked at the largest tech hedge fund called Pequot. And the guy that runs it is a brilliant man, nice guy, God bless me, just passed away, named Art Sandberg. And I remember back in 2006, I was pitching a short to him, my team and I were, and it wasn't a tech stock, it was in the home building industry. We were talking about going short Lennar, ticker LEN, and KBH Homes, ticker KBH. And our thesis was, well, there's a private equity bubble, and also the real estate market is overheated in 06 or 07. And he said, what's your thesis? And our thesis at the time was, well, they're overvalued. And so we wanted to short them. And so he said to us, very nicely, God bless him, he said, son, I've been around long enough to know never to stand in the way of insanity. Markets peak, markets trough. You just can't time it, though. You can't time it, yeah. And that's why I like to be very, very long-term focused when it comes to buying stocks. All right. Next up, Prem Kumar wrote, hi, Chris, you're great. Myself, Prem from India. Great to see you. Thank you. Thank you, Prem. Thank you. I love India. And you haven't lived, everybody in this call, you have not lived until you've eaten dosa. It's the best food you'll ever eat. When people go to Indian restaurants in the United States, they order tikka masala and all this wonderful food, but they don't ask for dosa. Dosa is mandatory. You haven't lived, people, until you've eaten dosa. And my favorite dosa I ever had was when I was teaching, actually. A big company sent me over to India to teach in Mumbai and Delhi. And you're going to laugh, but at the airport in Mumbai and Delhi, I went to Punjabi Grill, airport food, and I ordered dosa there. It was the best dosa I've ever eaten. Yeah, great to see you. Okay. All right, next up, Majed wrote, the role of news agencies. Are these merely entertainment businesses looking, and give me one second, guys, sorry. The role of news agencies. Are these merely entertainment businesses looking to satisfy the interests of their viewers, or do they really wish to inform them? I don't see how their contents are useful. Yeah, the problem is that you have a younger generation, a great generation, these are my kids, a younger generation that grew up with YouTube. And so they don't watch television, right? When I was a kid, I used to curl up on the couch with my parents while they were watching 60 Minutes or Breaking News CNN. And I would listen, and it's negative, awful news. But now, if kids are on the couch beside you, they're not watching TV. They're on their iPhones or Android handsets, and they're watching YouTube. And this terrifies news agencies, because they understand the next demographic, the future consumers, don't watch the news. And so in order to get people to stay watching the news, there's a lot of clickbait and there's a lot of negative news as well. Like I can't stand it when we have the news on in the background in the kitchen. My wife watches the news, and that's cool. I certainly don't. But in the background, I'll hear somebody on the news, local news even, saying, find out why the world might end after this break. And so it's all clickbait, and it's very extreme. And what's happening in the United States is unfortunate, and many countries as well. We've seen the bifurcation of opinions, largely because of Facebook, which should be regulated and broken up, I think. And so what Facebook is doing, and has done, is they've basically made you more of a Republican or more of a Democrat. Because if you're a Democrat, and they know based on your likes, it's crazy what they know. If you're a Democrat, they'll serve you up more sponsored stories and ads that are Democrat-based. And if you're a Republican, they'll serve up more stories and ads that are Republican-based. And the problem is you've got the biggest difference between opinions in America. America's at odds. Biggest difference in opinions ever. Maybe going back to the 60s with the hippie generation when they said, don't trust anybody over 30. And so, yeah, that's a big problem. It's a big problem. Yeah. But the younger generation really inspires me because they grew up watching YouTube and they follow these YouTube stars that are happy-go-lucky people doing fun stuff. And what's happening is the younger generation, they're getting an MBA in marketing or advertising by watching these happy-go-lucky, positive people. And that's a beautiful thing because I think if you have a positive attitude about everything in life in general, then things work out better for all of us. Yeah. But I do think the media is getting a little bit too extreme when it comes to opinions. Like in America, the way it works is you've got CNN, which is a little bit more left-wing. Then you've got Fox News, which is a little bit more right-wing. And if you have both of them on at the same time, it's really interesting because the Fox will say something positive about Trump, for example, and CNN, and they'll always say something negative. And so it even like when Trump was president, all right, and this is a bipartisan comment, I guess, I'm not going to be political, but when Trump was president, everything he said was viewed as really positive by Fox viewers, but it was viewed as really negative by CNN viewers, right? So Democrats, Republican. So it's problematic. And the way that I get my politics news is I go to the BBC because it's more international focused in general. Or I form my own opinions always. Yeah. Never rely on anybody's opinions on television when it comes to politics or when it comes to business. Like the worst thing you can do is invest in a stock after you see the CEO of that company interviewed on television. Well, the reason they became CEO is because they're great salespeople. Always do your own research. And in my MBA program, I provide you with a ton of frameworks and I teach you exactly how to analyze companies that are private or public based on my professional experience working more than 25 years in the finance industry. Okay. All right, next up, Shubham wrote, hey, Chris, how's it going? Always great, thanks. Always great. And if I sound tired, I don't feel tired. I feel great. Yeah, I always feel better than I sound. Yeah, my team and I have been working very, very hard on getting stuff out before Black Friday. Black Friday is the biggest sales event of the year, we know. And the reason why it's called Black Friday is because in the retail sector, historically, retail companies have been in the red all year, meaning they're losing money. And then they break even on the third or fourth Friday in November, which is Black Friday. They're in the black then. Yeah. And so it's massive for online sales as well. And Cyber Monday, which is the Monday after Black Friday, is even bigger now. Yeah. So it's a big part of my revenue for the year. Yeah. It's fun. All right. Next up, Shubin wrote, hey, Chris, how's it going? Any advice for an introvert who's going to work in a customer-facing and interactive role? Thanks. Yeah. Yeah. So I used to be an introvert. And you can always go to my website, harounventures.com, and at the top do a search on the word introvert, and you'll see videos I've done on that. But I remember I wasn't born an introvert, but I remember I used to work in the tech sector back in the 90s. And I would code like 10 or 12 hours in a row. I loved it, man. It was fun. I was a programmer. And I am teaching programming starting next year as well in my MBA program. But I remember I was a programmer, and I would code for 10 or 12 hours straight. And then I'd go to parties, and I'd feel kind of nervous, man. A little bit shy. And so what I did, and what I recommend you do, and we all do, is if you're fearful of something in business, you got to run to your fears, always. Okay, so force yourself to get outside your comfort zone, so to speak, and move to open spaces and network with people. And it will feel uncomfortable the first couple times, but after a while it becomes second nature. Yeah. And so whatever you're fearful of in business, I want to humbly help you turn that fear into your biggest source of strength and enjoyment. And so when I teach accounting and finance in my MBA program, for example, I use a lot of props and we thoroughly understand finance and accounting. We don't memorize it, but we condition ourselves to enjoy it as well. It's like gamification. And the same thing when it comes to socializing. You got to run towards your fear and just conquer it. Yeah. And I promise you, after pushing yourself to do it a couple of times, that will become your biggest sense of joy. Like for me, for example, I used to be fearful of public speaking until I forced myself to go into the prison system. Yes, I went to jail. I did it through the church. It's not a religious thing, but I would help out these kids, meaning 20-something-year-old guys that had deadbeat fathers. And I would present to them as well. And yeah, it was terrifying. But I turned my biggest fear into my biggest sense of joy and try to do a good thing at the same time. Yeah. All right. All right. Rajesh said, hello, sir. Good morning. Chris, please. Good morning to you. Good to see you as well. Ali, how are you? Great to see you again, brother. Okay. And Rajesh's question or comment is, your tips for being safe in starting an investment journey. I'm trying to start out, but still. Okay. So the question is, I've just started investing. How can I be safe and not lose money? So from a risk management perspective, what I recommend is never have more than 5% of your money in any particular stock. And try not to have more than 20% in any particular sector. Meaning if you own four tech stocks at 5% each, that's 20% of your portfolio. That's maxed out. Also, when it comes to risk management, it's multidimensional as well. And I teach about this in my MBA degree program. But you also got to diversify in terms of asset classes, meaning stocks, bonds, commodities, real estate, and country exposure as well. Now, when it comes to trading or investing in options, I recommend doing it initially with paper money, a pretend account. And let me actually show you how this works, especially with options. So I'm going to open up this application that you can download for free called Thinkorswim. Okay, and this is made by TD Ameritrade, a great company. And if you can't get access to this in your country, maybe think about downloading a VPN so you can. But Thinkorswim, it's installing updates, sorry. What it allows you to do is it allows you to trade a real portfolio or a paper portfolio. And I recommend you trade a paper portfolio for at least 6 months before investing in any stocks at all. Or take my MBA program, so I give you a lot of frameworks on how to invest. I'll never tell you what to buy. I'll never give you a fish. I'll teach you how to fish. All right, give me a second here. All right. I'm going to do a paper portfolio here. I'll show you quickly. And don't get intimidated by what you're about to see. It looks like a professional trading system, and it is. But the way I teach it to you is one step at a time or one block at a time. Okay, so for example, if you want to trade options, what I would do is I would just do a paper simulated portfolio first, okay, before you really trade options, understand what all this stuff means. So this is Coca-Cola here, and we do a big case study on Coke in my options course. But if you right click, for example, and you buy an iron condor, okay, it's going to look really complicated to you, all this stuff. Okay, and Hisham, if you're still in the call, earlier on we talked about managing risk when it comes to selling options. So in this case, the most I can make is this amount. The most I can lose is that amount because I'm using 4 different options, which I teach about in more detail in my MBA program. But what I recommend doing is trading a paper portfolio using Thinkorswim or using other similar websites, and there's a lot of free tools out there all over the world. Do it for at least 6 months first, especially when it comes to options, before investing your first penny. And always keep risk management in mind, meaning never have more than, say, 5% of your portfolio in any one stock, and certainly never have more than 1 or 2% of your entire portfolio in any options position, and thoroughly understand the maximum profit and losses when it comes to options because they can be deadly. All right. Next up, Venki wrote, I joined, okay, you joined my MBA class earlier. I answered that one already. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Next up, Rajesh wrote, can you tell me the insights of how Udemy shares percentages with teachers? Because sometimes it's a full amount, sometimes it's an offer. So how does they split up occur? Just an overview, please. Yeah. So the way it works is if you create a coupon and you send it out, whoever buys your course based on that coupon, you get to keep 97% of what they paid. And the 3% is basically just processing fees, meaning credit card fees, etc. Now, Udemy, there's different types of products that Udemy has. And so there's a blended average when it comes to how much money you make. So they've got the marketplace, which is their big business. And they've got another business called Udemy for Business, or UB. They just rebranded it, which is also big and growing like crazy. It's a subscription service for big companies to get access to business and tech courses. So both of them have a different mix shift. But the great thing about Udemy, and look, if I say nice things about Udemy, I'm not trying to, influence them to sell my courses more because it's an algorithm. If my courses suck, and many of them do, they won't sell. But the good thing about Udemy is that they sell your courses in places where it's tough for you to reach. So for me, for example, I have students in every single country in the world. And there's no way I'd be able to create my own algorithm or e-commerce engine to access those students all over the world. So they do that for you. Yeah. All right, and they're a great partner of mine. All right, next up, Demian, how are you? So Demian just bought my Platinum MBA program. Demian, great to see you. I'm looking forward to having you in the program and working with you. And I hope to meet you in person as well, if you ever make it. If you ever move from Barcelona or come to visit the Bay Area, lunch is on me, of course. Yeah. And we have a number of current and previous and future students from Barcelona that are in the program as well, which is great from a networking perspective for you, including Raquel Cespedes, who's in this year's Platinum program. She's great. So Demi wrote, good morning, Chris. Hope you're well. Likewise. My question about the Rivian, the IPO is out. What are your thoughts on the IPO? Many thanks and a huge hug from Barcelona. Big hug right back at you, brother. Right back at you. Yeah. So I own shares. It's one of the only other pure plays you can use to get access to clean tech. Meaning if you want to invest in non-Tesla companies. Yeah. So I'm there. It's run up a lot. I'll probably be taking some profits. But I'm there as well. We participated. Yeah. And I think it was the best performing IPO in years as well. It just shows you the voracious appetite that people have for anything non-Tesla. Yeah. And I know I'm going to get questions later about Tesla in this call because of the insider selling. Yeah. And by the way, so Elon Musk backed up the truck and bought a lot of shares in Tesla in March of 2020 when the whole world was freaking out. And so he's very unemotional. And that's why, one of the reasons why he's so successful. You got to be the same way as well. You got to be unemotional in business. Yeah. All right. And you can read between the lines in terms of why he's selling now as well. Yeah. And I don't think it's just because of Joe Biden saber rattling with taxing the rich. I think it's more than that. Yeah. All right. So next up, Hazem Al-Hayari wrote, sorry if you already covered this, Chris. No, please. But can you tell us what you think of China's Evergrande bankruptcy and how that'll affect the U.S. stock market? Yeah. So I've done a number of videos on this. You can always go to harounventures.com and do a search on China and Evergrande as well. So for those who are not familiar with Evergrande, it's a big real estate company in China that's having a lot of financial problems. And the problem is that people know that if it goes belly up, it can impact the entire real estate sector in China and Asia, and maybe the rest of the world as well. We don't know. I don't think it's going to be that bad. And one of the other issues is that in China, the government is not going to rescue them. It's just not in their nature to do that. You know, in America, you can be too big to fail, but in China, you can be too big to succeed. So yeah. But what they've done is they've been selling off assets. They sold off a couple of airplanes as well, and they've been able to make their debt payments, which is great. I don't think it's going to be nearly as awful as the 2008 crisis at all. But if you want more details on that, just go to my website, harounventures.com, and at the very top, just search for it, because I've done a number of videos on that. Yeah, thanks. Okay. All right, next, and then Patrick, how are you? So Patrick's in my MBA program. Good to see you. So Patrick wrote, hey, Chris, I'm running a financial analysis on Marks & Spencer, okay, real estate company, or a retail company. I noticed that the company reports its financial statements in US dollars. I want to convert to pounds. Can I use the current exchange rate for all the 5 years involved in your financial model, or specific exchange rates at the last day of each year, say the 31st of December 2020 for 2020 financials, or do I just use the current rate? Yeah. So when it comes to taxes and FX exchange, it's really, really tough to account for this in your model. So what I recommend you do, though, is listen to the earnings calls for Marks & Spencer and read the annual report and read the footnotes, especially in the annual report. Do a control F or a search in your browser there for the word FX or foreign exchange or taxes in general, because it's hard for you to predict. And I remember years ago, I used to invest in a big company called SAP, great German software company based in Waldorf, Germany. And whenever they used to report earnings quarterly, what they would do is there would always be a question or a comment or an excerpt when it came to a table in their financials, which discussed what their FX hedging was. You'll never know. It's hard. It's hard to actually do that, to account for it yourself, because behind the scenes, you don't know how much they're hedging. You just don't know. And so I remember whenever the euro, sorry, I was about to say the Deutschmark, whenever the euro would get hit really, really hard, investors in SAP would think, oh my God, this is great because they get more revenue from the United States than they do from Germany. And so when SAP repatriates the profits from America to bring it back to Germany, it helps their earnings a lot. But that was problematic with a lot of investors because you don't know if they've hedged or not. And so the bottom line is you want to listen to the most recent earnings calls and read the footnotes in the annual report to find out what sort of FX hedging program they have in place, rather than trying to calculate yourself. And the same thing with taxes too. It's really hard to forecast taxes. Just whatever the company has had tax-wise in the past, use that tax rate going forward. All right. Next up, Rajesh wrote, "May I know your age? You're way more energetic than me. You wrote you're 23. Your dedication is the number one thing I learned from you, and the day one to today. What's your fire? I'd like to hear a few words." Yeah, thank you for that question. I appreciate it. Yeah. So I'm 26. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm actually I'll be turning 50 in February. 50 going on 7.5. My kids have a little brother and me. It's fun. Yeah. But since the 1950s, the average life expectancy globally is 26 years higher than today than it was back then. And so that means that I'm not 50, I'm 24. Yeah. Yeah. No, the older I get, the better I was. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay. But in terms of trying to stay energetic, it's tough doing it all the time. Like I'm consistent, meaning I vlog every day, and I'm consistent with this weekly webcast. Consistently bad, maybe, but the way I get my consistency is I do what I love doing. I'm absolutely passionate about what I'm doing, and you can't see this, but in my office I've got a treadmill. And I put the remote somewhere. I'm getting a brand new desk, so things are kind of. Well, here it is. Here, I've got a treadmill underneath me, and so I take about 20,000 steps a day. And there's no chair in my office. And one of the reasons why there's no chair in my office is because I did get complaints from students on this webcast that I sounded tired, right? And so the way I try to not sound tired is I don't have a chair in here. And so I've got this really cheap treadmill under me here, and I take about 20,000 steps a day while I work. And I've got one of these tables that go up or down as well. It's a little bit squeaky. I have to put WD-40 on it. It goes a maximum of 3.7 miles per hour. And I wear my Apple Watch in my pocket because when you type, it doesn't count steps. So there's a method to my madness, and I get a lot more work done this way. And when I do this, I feel like I just woke up. And the best time to study or to retain information is when you first wake up. That first hour is crucial because 1 hour of studying at night is meaningless. 1 hour of studying in the morning means everything. And so for me, I find that when I exercise all day long when I work, it feels like I just woke up. And so I get like 20 days worth of work done in one day, that sort of thing. It works for me. Plus I also, I drink a lot of water as well. We are 60% water. And so this is just a cheap product you can buy on Amazon or anywhere. And this tells me at what times of the day I should be at water-wise. So right now it's 9:14 a.m. my time, and I'm at about 9 a.m. So I'm on track. Yeah. Also, I biohack a lot. I drink bulletproof coffee. I've done it for more than 5 years now, which gives me a ton of energy from a cognitive ability perspective and a nice cerebral intensity when I'm working. I also I make my own shakes. I make 7 of these every single Sunday. And there's raw ginger root in here. There's a lot of kale. It's basically greatest hits of every antioxidant you can think of. Yeah. So, but I think the most important thing though is doing what you love doing. Because as Confucius said, if you find an occupation you love, you'll never have a job for the rest of your life. And that's how I feel. Yeah. And my students inspire me so much. It's so fun doing this, man. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I don't have a job. I have a passion. And that's when you'll know what your purpose is in life. When you go to work and it's not work, it's like, oh my God, this is fun. I love this. Yeah. It takes a while though. And the way you'll know what your passion is in life is if it's 4 a.m. and you open your eye on a weekday and you look at the clock and you're like, oh, awesome, I'm getting up now to work. I love it. Versus when you work for somebody else or in a big company and you hate doing what you're doing. You open your eye, 4 o'clock in the morning, you're like, oh, thank God, 3 more hours of sleep. Yeah. Another way you'll know you found your passion is if I tell you this. Let's pretend you're not allowed to go to work or school or travel for 30 days. What are you going to do with your time? Whatever that is, that's your purpose and your passion and your calling in life. And ignore the rest of the world that tells you to get a different profession, like be a lawyer, God forbid, or an engineer. If that's not your passion, don't do it. It's your life, not theirs. Yeah. And don't be afraid to fail too. Like I failed a lot, and a lot of great entrepreneurs have failed a lot as well. You just don't hear about the failures. But you only have to be right in business one time. And you've got to tell yourself, I don't give a damn what the rest of the world thinks of me. Anybody. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to do what I want to do, career-wise. Yeah, I'll fail a bunch, but I don't care because I only have to be right one time. And that's why I have this this in my office as well, which is I've failed over and over again in my career, and that's why I succeed. Yeah. And I was doing a webcast yesterday, and I hung up the degree right here, my MBA degree, and I did it live, and it broke. It was the funniest thing, man. I'm trying to sell my MBA degree, and it broke. Yeah. It's a broken product, folks. Don't buy it. Just kidding. Yeah. All right. And the perfectionist in me wants to make this perfect. And Salvador Dali, the great painter from Barcelona, said, if you strive for perfection, you'll never reach it. Yeah. All right. All right, next up I've got here Wet Trunks 123 said, hello, Chris. I have a small doubt. Sure. For my fresher placements, should I try for big companies with small CTC or vice versa, considering that I'm going further studies after work experience? Yeah. It all depends on what your 10-year goals are. So you got to figure out what your perfect life is in 10 years. And then whatever that perfect life is career-wise, think about how do you fill that gap? And if working for a big company is going to get you closer to your 10-year goals, do that. If working for a startup is going to help you get closer to your 10-year goals, do that. You know, if you want to run your own company, maybe working for a startup might make more sense. You know, if your goal is to, I don't know, be CEO of a big company, then working at a big company might make more sense. Yeah. It all depends. If you want, you can share with me what your 10-year goals are, and I can humbly help you fill the gap. Yeah. And Jeff Bezos, what he does at Amazon is, or what he did at Amazon when he was running the company before Andy Jassy kind of took over, what Jeff Bezos would do is every year he would ask his product managers, he would ask them to write a press release and give it to him. And that press release would be released many years in the future. And so he'd have the product manager on Kindle, as well as Amazon Prime, maybe the Whole Foods division, etc. The ALEXA division as well. I don't want her to come alive here or talk to me. She's got attitude lately. But he would have all those product managers write a press release today that's going to be released many years in the future. And what that would do is that would create kind of a gap analysis. Here's where you are today. Here's where the product's going to be in the future. How do you fill that gap? Similarly, I want you to do the same thing as well. I want you to write and architect your perfect resume in 10 years today and carry it with you. And that way you know what to fill in gap-wise to get you to your perfect life. Yeah. All right, and then Wet Trunks 123, I wrote, by the way, you're my biggest inspiration. Oh, thank you. And you wrote, I look up to you. Thanks for all that you do for us. Thank you. And thank you for being here as well. Thank you. Thank you. I love my students. They're part of me. Okay, we're family. Okay. All right, and then Nabisa wrote, hey, Chris, I've upgraded to gold. Thank you. And you wrote, thank you for it. I thank you for it. And anybody else that wants to join Nabisa, upgrade to gold or buy the gold or platinum portion of the MBA program, go to this website, please, here. And then you wrote, I'm personally interested in the area of starting a company. What products to sell, calculating price of products, how to increase sales, etc. Yeah, awesome. And I'll help you as well. And because you bought gold, you get 3 one-on-one meetings as well as part of this early promotion thing of that web address. And so we'll run through that in a lot of detail. And my students that are in the Platinum program that have a lot of one-on-ones with me and have in the past, I've helped them write their business plan. I've helped them create their financial models. I helped them create their LinkedIn profile as well from scratch. Yeah. And if you ever want student testimonials, just go to LinkedIn and find somebody in your country that's taken my MBA program, and just ask them the negatives and the positives. Yeah. Okay. Alex P. Keaton. Alex P. wrote, Chris, do you think pensions for public employers, meaning schools and higher education, etc., will be around in the next 50 years in the United States, or will the macro environment change that? No, I think they'll always be around. And they get great tax deductions as well. They do, yeah. I think they'll always be around. And they're a force to be reckoned with, too. Like, for example, in Canada, there's 2 pension funds that really move markets up there, right? There's Caisse Dépôt in Quebec, and then there's Ontario Teachers in Ontario. And there are massive pension funds all over the world that are savings for teachers. Like, for example, there's Texas Teachers, which is a massive pension fund, right? They also have other pension funds here on the West Coast, like CalPERS. They're huge. And I think they'll be around forever. I do. Yeah. It's like saying, will mutual funds exist in the future? I mean, they will. I don't want them to, because mutual funds are a scam and they're rip-off and the fees are high compared to ETFs. But they'll exist, yeah. Oh, Manas, how are you? Manas is one of my students from India. He wrote a book called Bonds Before Business. He's got a bunch of courses as well. Good to see you. So Manas wrote, good morning, my dear mentor. Chris, please, hope all is well. Good to see you, brother. The background looks cool, but changing, like putting a universe or a desert or something of your choice will be very cool. Just a suggestion. You're cool and awesome. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I don't know, man. So I've got this. Yeah, I'll do it. I've got this ask and you'll receive. You can't see it, but up above there, I've got a short throw projector. And basically, I got the idea from watching Disney Plus. I was watching The Mandalorian. In The Mandalorian, they don't use a green screen. They use a short throw projector. And so I've got this projector. It's tough to see, but it's literally 6 inches away from the wall, and it can fill up the whole wall as well. I used it earlier this year. Maybe I'll start to use it again. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it takes so much time changing sets and everything too. And I've got these special reels that come up and down as well, so I can change sets in real time if I want to. Yeah, it's fun. And Manas wrote, can you explain a little bit about SHA-1 and SHA-256? It's been so well explained in the cryptocurrency course. You're a genius of your art, the Picasso of online teaching and mentoring. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, and I bought a Picasso too. They're not expensive if you buy a black and white one, original, because Pablo Picasso used to create, 50 of those every day. But anything with color in it, Picasso's worth a fortune. I can't afford that. But I do have Picasso. It's fun. Yeah. So in terms of the difference between SHA-1 and 256, so SHA-1 and SHA-256 are secure algorithms created by the National Security Agency in the United States. And SHA-256 is the basis of Bitcoin security and security for many different cryptos as well. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but years ago, remember there used to be a little padlock in the corner of your browser? So that padlock meant that you have a secure certificate. And that was based up until 2005 on SHA-1, which again was designed by the NSA. And SHA-256 is a version of SHA-1 that is much more secure. All right. Manas wrote, Elon Musk and his brother are selling their entire stakes in Tesla very soon. Not their entire stakes. Do you think that Elon is tired or bored of Tesla and now wants to get rid of it? It led to the collapse of Tesla shares. Yeah, no, it's just he sold $5 billion worth. That was publicly disclosed. And his brother sold a bunch as well. The controversy is that his brother, some people think, and I don't think it's fair, but some people think his brother sold because he knew his brother sold $100 million worth because his brother knew that Elon was going to sell. as well. Yeah, and Elon's more careful now with this sort of thing. I remember a couple of years ago when Tesla's stock was getting murdered, he basically said that maybe we'll take it private. We'll do a private equity deal. And the SEC got very upset with that because that led to a big spike in the price of Tesla for something that never materialized. Yeah. But I think Elon, what he's doing is he's just very, he's an extreme capitalist, and I respect him for that. I'm a capitalist, obviously, as well. And he's just voicing his opinion. He's talking about how a higher tax system doesn't make any sense. And that's why he picked up and moved his company to Texas. And that's why a lot of companies are voting with their feet and leaving the state of California, the left coast. It's not fair to only call it that, but taxes are quite high here. And it's bizarre because the income statement of California is not that great. And if this were a standalone country, it'd be like the 8th biggest economy in the world. I don't think it's being run correctly. I believe in low taxes. I do. But a lot of companies and a lot of people are moving to Texas because of that. And I'd like to ask Texas, please bring your tax code here to California, please. Yeah. Don't mess with Texas. That's what they say, at least. I don't know what that means. All right. But I will say that it really is unfair, the entire tax code in the United States, because billionaires pay way less in taxes percent-wise than the top tax bracket in the U.S. So the top tax bracket in the U.S. is usually between 35 and 40%. But the 400 richest families in America only pay 22% in taxes. It's not fair. It's not fair. And it's a conundrum. It's really hard to fix because the way it works is you get taxed based on a realized profit. So if I sell a lot of shares today, I pay taxes. But if I don't sell any shares, I don't pay taxes. And so you need to have a taxable event in order to pay taxes. And Jeff Bezos, his accountant took advantage of it, though. Like back in 2007, Jeff Bezos, and of course he was a billionaire back then, but he didn't pay taxes in 2007, and he claimed $4,000 for each of his 4 kids as a taxable benefit as well, as dependents. It's not fair. It's not fair. So I think it's going to change. It's going to change, yeah. But it's complicated because you need to have a taxable event in order to pay taxes. Yeah. There will be some sort of wealth tax, and there should be. There should be on people that are worth $1 gazillion. It's only fair. It's only fair. And I get pushback from some of my students. They say, yeah, but Chris, these billionaires, they create a lot of jobs. Fair point. But they should pay their fair share of taxes too. Like even Warren Buffett, he's publicly disclosed that he pays way less in taxes percent-wise than his assistant does. It's not fair. It's not fair. So that'll change. That'll change, yeah. It'll probably be some sort of a wealth tax based on if you have a net worth of over $1 billion, you have to pay an additional 5% tax per year. Yeah. It's $50 million. All right. Next question I've got from a new student called How to Badass. Great to see you, HTB. And your icon looks cool too. It looks like a Bitcoin. Yeah. So HTB wrote, my mentor, I want to increase my income by 10x by selling my skills in a program on various platforms in the black market to really hit the cash flow of the stock market by increasing revenue in crypto rates. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by the black market. Let me know if you want. When it comes to selling your skills in a program, sounds like you might be interested in, please correct me if I'm wrong, in online teaching. And if so, I would check out platforms like Udemy. And you can also set up your own platform on your own website using Teachable. Let me show you guys, because I get a lot of questions about this as well. People say, what do you use for your back-end system for teaching? I'll show you how to do it, and it's free as well. So you go to a website called Teachable, and this is where I host my courses. So if you go to where my courses are, which is learn.harounventures.com, all these courses here, they're on Teachables. It looks like my website, but it's not actually, right? And I outsource a lot of stuff, including this to Teachables. And so when you go to Teachables, what you can do is you can use it for free and put your courses online for free. Okay. Now, obviously, if you pay more, you get access to more stuff. So I'm on the pro plan right now because it's what I do. My MBA program actually is on Teachable, although you wouldn't know it from a branding perspective. So what you can do is you can put your courses online for free, and you pay a $1 fee and 10% transaction whenever you sell a course. That's a free plan. And then as you move up to this plan here, which is what I'm on, there's no transaction fees and stuff. Yeah. All right. And there's only one other company too that's kind of like Teachables. It's a Canadian company called Thinkific. And I wish both platforms were better. There's not enough competition out there, and competition is good for the consumer. Yeah. All right. All right. Next up, Prem Kumar. Prem wrote, "I'm from India. I'm planning to start supporting companies abroad by working off-site. Can you suggest some tips? Thanks in advance." Yeah. So, sounds like a consulting firm, and maybe IT consulting. I'm not sure. But what I recommend doing is sign up for my MBA degree program. Let me just fix the glare on this. Sorry. Sign up for my MBA degree program, and you can see at the link there in the bottom. And then what you can do is I have what's called a Venture Capital Bootcamp, where I teach you how to write a very detailed business plan from scratch. And my goal always with my students in my MBA program is to have them start companies with $0 down and not to get a loan. And I teach them how to network to get high net worth investors to invest in their company. You know, if you have a lot of money, great, you don't need to raise it. But I don't want you to use a penny of your own capital because I want you to be happy at home. And if you're happy at home, you're not stressed out. And, you know, you get high net worth investors to invest. And I go through it in a lot of detail and all the steps in my MBA program as well. It's part of the Venture Capital Bootcamp, yeah. All right. Next up, Manas wrote, "Have you ever shown any interest in the Squid?" Oh, I thought you were asking about Squid Games. And I'm on episode 8 right now in Squid Games. I'm halfway through. The three of them just had dinner together at that bizarre triangle table, and I stopped it last night. So I think that's the last episode. Yeah. It's good. So have you ever shown any interest in Squid cryptocurrency? It looked good and was on the rise, but now it's going down and going to be dead soon. What are your thoughts on this one? Yeah. So I don't know much about that one. But I will say most cryptocurrencies are a scam. I do own a bunch of cryptos, right? And I've been dollar cost averaging buying for a long time now. Okay. And I've been investing in and on the boards of cryptocurrency companies since 2013. And I publicly disclosed the 4 cryptos I own, right? And I'll own forever. And those are as follows. Do your own research first, please. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple, and then Ethereum. Okay, ETH. And I just got a payout from Ethereum from my mining computer. I'll show you actually. It just hit my Coinbase account. And this is for educational purposes. But you can go to harounventures.com. Whoops. Slash cryptos. Give me one second. Slash crypto. And you can see my mining computer. I think it was taken offline last night. Yeah. So right here. So I'm mining Ethereum as we speak. Oh, it is online. Good. And I just got paid out. So the way it works with this, and this is up in Dylan's room, my son. We work on this together. So once you reach 0.2 of an ether, what happens is you get money, and this is sent to the public key address of my Coinbase account. And so we were paid out a couple days ago. Yeah, so we're starting all over again here. Yeah. So I love Ethereum. It's probably my favorite crypto because it's a platform. The one thing, though, the conundrum with, to be intellectually honest and objective, when it comes to Ethereum, the one thing I can never get my hand around is that there's no limit on supply. But I love it because it's a platform, right? And so basically, the best technology companies in history are platforms. If you own the road, you can charge the cars. This is a prop from a webcast I did yesterday. And so Ethereum is a platform because a lot of NFTs are created on the Ethereum platform. And whenever cryptocurrency companies go public or they do an ICO, meaning an initial coin offering or initial cryptocurrency offering, it's done on the Ethereum platform as well, most of the time. Yeah. But I would say that most cryptos are a scam, only because it's a bubble. You know, it's a growth market. It makes sense that it's a scam because a lot of people get in on the land grab early on. It happens in all markets. You know, it happened with tulip bulbs back in the 1600s in Holland. It happened in the .com 1.0 bubble in the late 90s. It happened in the real estate bubble in '08, etc. Your history repeats itself. And so most cryptos are a scam, I think. But there are a bunch that I absolutely love. And in my MBA degree program, I recently updated the crypto portion in my MBA program. You can check it out because I teach you how to analyze and invest in cryptocurrency companies from scratch. And one of the problems is that when it comes to cryptocurrencies, they're not regulated, right? I mean, they're regulated by the laws of mathematics, I guess. So you have to do your own research. And I think there should be some sort of loose government regulation, very loose. Because I see, and what you guys don't see behind the scenes, is how many students I talk to that have been scammed on cryptos. So just be really, really careful, please. Be careful. Yeah. Do your research and take my courses or my MBA program because I teach you how to research cryptocurrencies in a lot of detail. Yeah. All right. And then Prem wrote, is that MBA at your own time or live? Will I be allowed to access the course later on after completion? Yeah. No, it's your MBA on your time. Right. So give me 1 second. I'm getting some issues here with buffering. Hold on a second. Okay, we're good. Yeah. So no, it's your MBA on your own time, and so you can watch the classes live with me if you want to, or what you can do is you can watch the replays. Okay. And all the Q&A that people ask, hundreds of hours worth, is indexed and added to the program as well. You'll be able to see it and network with your colleagues. And so the way it works is we start January 10th. You can go to this web address here to learn more. We start January 10th, 2022. And classes are every Monday and Tuesday in 2 different time zones. So time zone 1 on Mondays and Tuesdays it starts at 9 a.m. my time, Pacific time. Time zone 2 is also Mondays and Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And then we also have, for MBA students, only office hours every Thursday after this general call. And of course, I have just a ton of one-on-one meetings throughout the year, over 1,000, with my students every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Yeah. And you get to bond with your classmates as well. And if you miss a class, it's cool, man. Just watch the replay. It's always made available to you. Yeah. And I'm always accessible too. I'm there for my students. They're my family. Yeah. Okay. But you get access forever, and you don't have to graduate within a year. You can take it in 10 years from now, graduate if you want to. And I have an annual alumni event, which is also an annual graduation. It's a 2-in-1 show every December. And actually, this is the first time we're doing it because last year we had COVID. We had to do it online. But I rented a museum here in the Bay Area, my favorite museum in the world. It's December 18th. It's the annual networking event and alumni event for people that have purchased or are in the gold or platinum program for the past 3 years. Yeah. It's been fun. It's been surreal, man. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm always adding new stuff as well. And you'll get that for free forever as well. It's a one-time payment. I don't try to nickel and dime anybody after the fact. Yeah. And the profits are to build schools. Yeah. I pay my employees well, of course. But a lot of the money I make, and I've humbly done well, a lot of the money I make, I build schools and I do a lot of donations to educational charities. That's why I do what I do. Yeah. All right. Next up, Sarthik wrote, hey, Chris, what are your thoughts on YouTube removing dislike counts? Yeah, I know that's been the policy for over a year now when it comes to comments, right? And so it's really strange. You'll see a video that's gotten a ton of hits. And then you look at the comments and you're like, oh my God, look at all those pluses on the comments. I'll show you what it means. Yeah. But I don't think they're getting rid of it in all videos. I think it's just comments. Let me know if I'm wrong, please. But if we go here to YouTube, I don't know. Yeah. So I'm going to go here and I'll show you one that's done fine, whatever. So we'll do one on Motley Fool. So we search here on Motley Fool, a review on Motley Fool. Here's mine here, a year ago, whatever it was. Yeah. So this one here. So you'll see here that there's a bunch of down likes or dislikes, whatever. But if you go to the comments here, you'll see that I've got 64 likes and no dislikes. And this is disingenuous too on YouTube's part because they got rid of that. I don't even know why it exists. Like you'll see there's no dislikes. It doesn't make any sense at all. Anyway, it is what it is. But I don't think they'll get rid of the dislikes here. But then again, if you think about it on Facebook, Facebook doesn't have dislikes. Yeah. I don't know. But I'd be surprised if they get rid of that. If that's what you're referring to, please let me know, because that's news to me. Let me do a search on that. YouTube, dislike. I love how it corrects my spelling. Okay. Let's see here. Oh. Wow, you're right about this. No kidding. And this came out yesterday. Yeah, November 11th is today, man. That's when the new GTA trilogy, the new version, the upscale version, is being released today. I will be downloading it to play Vice City, my favorite GTA game. Okay. Wow, you're right. No kidding. Okay. I don't understand that, but okay, fine. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. Okay. Well, thanks for see, I learned so much from my students based on the quality of your questions. Yeah. I don't agree with that. I don't think that should. Yeah, it just seems disingenuous. Yeah. And then you wrote here, it is hard to differentiate a fake news on YouTube now. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I disagree with that policy, and thank you for letting me know about that. Interesting. Okay. Next up, hey Rose, how are you? So Rose graduated from my MBA program last year in the Platinum program. She's from the great state of Virginia on the East Coast of the United States. She's awesome. She's an expert in the music industry and the clothing market as well. She's the authority on Amazon clothing, Amazon merch as well. Remember, she wrote a great post on LinkedIn about that back, I think it was in January of 2020. Great to see you, Rose. Rose wrote, wow, almost 50,000 subscribers. Congratulations. You give me a lot to think about when it comes to starting my own company's YouTube channel. Yeah. Thank you. Great to see you, Rose, as always. And Rose was the head of the yearbook last year, and I've got it around here somewhere. And she did a great job. Thank you. And this year's head of the yearbook is, in this year's class, is Christina. Yeah. Great to see you. All right. Next up, Manas wrote, you're the god of online learning education. No, please. I'm playing God of War, by the way, right now on my PS, my PlayStation 5, whatever. It's a PS4 game. I never played that series, but I am absolutely hooked now. It is unbelievable, that game. Yeah. I thought it was just a fighting game like Mortal Kombat. It's not. It's adventure. And it's cool because it's about this guy who travels everywhere with his son, who doesn't have a name. He calls him Boy. But I love it. God of War. It's cool. And they're making a sequel, another one coming out next year as well. So I'm really into that game. It's unbelievable, man. It's like you're playing Game of Thrones meets Zeus. Yeah. And then Manas wrote, I'm glad to be a proud member of the Haroun Education Ventures family. Thank you. I will always keep the students first forever, bonds before business. Yeah, thank you. And Manas is one of my amazing students and friend here. So he wrote a great book called Bonds Before Business. It's 9 inches by 6 inches. I have it. Everybody order it, please. He also has a number of courses on Udemy as well. Yeah. Great to see you, man. And Manas wrote, my mentor, Chris, please. When is the option course coming? I'm waiting for that, and also the real estate course. Yeah, so options will be out before Black Friday. We're working really, really hard on it. So we're doing a lot of other things too behind the scenes, business development wise. Yeah. So things are good. In terms of the real estate course, I'm doing it next year. Yeah, probably in the first half of next year. I can't do anything half-assed. I have to be all in and provide a tremendous amount of value to my students, or I can't do it. And so I don't like rushing things. So this one will be out next year. And what I'll do for that one is it'll be a course on how to invest in real estate from a commercial and residential perspective. And I bought a couple of buildings up in southern Ontario in Canada, and I'll probably fly up there and maybe do a film shoot there as well. Yeah, it has to be based on my practical experience always. Options course coming out soon, though. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. What I'm doing right now is I'm breaking up. I have a ton of downloadable documents for it, like everything you need. I love to go all in, like a complete course. But I'm breaking up the documents now into smaller versions in case some people have an older version of Excel. I want to make it accessible to everybody because I always think about a massive total addressable market. Yeah. All right. And then Manas wrote, Litecoin is at an all-time high, maybe, and they gained around $500 in the last 2 weeks. Do you think the bubble is going to burst soon? Yeah, I don't know. Like, you can never call peaks or troughs in markets because a lot of emotions get involved. And so I don't think about it that way. I think about, 10, 20 years from now. In 10 or 20 years, will Bitcoin or Litecoin be more relevant or less relevant than they are today? Well, definitely more relevant. Yeah. And the same thing when it comes to getting seduced with cheap valuations in crappy companies. Like a lot of times companies, publicly traded ones that are tech stocks, for example, they're cheap for a reason. Don't get seduced by the cheap valuation. Always start out by asking yourself, in 5 years, will this company be more relevant or less relevant than it is today? Otherwise, what happens? You get involved with a value trap. Yeah. All right. Next up, Sarthik wrote, everyone was slamming Litecoin, but Chris said that he believes in Litecoin. I bought it that time, and believe me, I've earned a lot of profit from that. Awesome. Great. Thank you. And then Sarthik wrote, the moral is always do your own research or listen to Chris. No, please no. God bless you. Thank you. Always do your own research. Always. And you'll notice that I don't ever come out and tell people what stocks to buy. It's a disservice to my students. If I give you a fish, you'll eat for a day. But if I humbly teach you how to fish, you'll eat for a lifetime. Yeah. And of course, that quote is from my biggest hero in life. But it's great to hear you did well, though. Nicely done. All right, next up, Himanshu. It's been a couple of weeks. Hope you're doing well. So Himanshu wrote, Dear Chris, I know day trading is bad. We don't want to get fooled by randomness. But still, I'm making money paper trading every time. Yeah. So this is not a normalized environment. You're probably making more money on stocks going up. So what's happening with this cycle is that the government is leaving rates at basically zero for a long time. And the reason they're doing that, and inflation is getting ridiculous. Like inflation is 6% now. That's unheard of. And the reason the government is doing this is because they have no idea what's going to happen with COVID. Is there going to be another, and if the government were to raise rates too early and we have another outbreak of COVID, then the economy is gone and you can't reverse that. So it's deadly, absolutely deadly. Yeah. So, I'm worried about inflation. Am I calling a peak in the market? No. Do I know when that's going to happen? No. Am I buying stocks right now? No. Do I like to ask myself questions and answer with the word no? Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Okay. My dad, humor is awful. You guys know that. Yeah. Okay. And Himanshu wrote, if you could tell me 3 best practices for day trading, it would be really helpful, and that would be the best time frame for. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the question is, what are the 3 best indicators for day trade? Yeah. Although I'm a long-term investor, I do trade every now and then to understand when to get in my positions or to trim and take profits. And so when I look at stocks, I always look at FVT in that order: fundamentals, then valuation, and then way down there, technicals. Yeah. So in terms of technical analysis, the best one to look at is the relative strength index, the RSI. And what I'll do is I'll show you an example with a random stock. I won't even look at the ticker, but I'll teach you from scratch. So let's go here to finance.yahoo.com. Okay. And I'll type up a random ticker. I'm looking up. What is that? Disney. Oh my God. No, that's not fair. There's no way. That's not fair. Because that was a trending ticker. That's not fair. Okay. Let me type a letter. All right. Okay. So PayPal. Okay. We'll look at PayPal here. I don't know why PayPal came up with that letter, but we'll look there anyway for fun. Okay. All right. So what we'll do is we will look here at the charts of PayPal, which of course was spun off from eBay a couple of years ago. And what I'll do is I'll go up here to indicators, and then we'll go to the relative strength index. Okay. And what's going to happen is you'll see a green line at the top, which is overbought, and that's when you sell. Okay. And a red line at the bottom, right, for 20, that's oversold. That's when you buy. Now, of course, you look at fundamentals and valuation first. Okay. All right. So let's take a look here. And it doesn't always work perfectly, but we're going to do this anyway. Okay. So right here, we can see it got close to the red line, okay? And this was your opportunity to buy because it was massively oversold. And PayPal, oh, looks like it's almost time to buy again here. Look at this, getting crushed. Yeah. So, and it feels like catching a falling knife. If you roll up your sleeves and do research on PayPal, I'm not gonna tell you to buy or not. But if you roll up your sleeves and do work on PayPal, this is when I usually like to buy stocks, is when there's a broken stock, but not a broken company, right? A broken chart. And so right here, and we can check back next week or the week after if you want, but this should bounce, okay? Again, look at fundamentals and valuation first. Do never, ever, ever buy just based on this. But this random stock right here, you could see, and it's kind of hard to see with that line in the bottom. So give me 1 second. Let me go and get rid of my propaganda on the bottom there. All right, yeah, here we go. This is a picture of my kids here. But right here, you can see PayPal is oversold, okay? Ticker PYPL. And so I expect a bounce like this, okay? It looks scary. It looks like you're catching a falling knife, and this is what I love doing. But you got to roll up your sleeves first and do the work on it to see if the fundamentals and valuation make sense for PayPal. And then what you can do is you can buy, and you'll get a nice little bounce. Okay. Again, that's the relative strength index. Now, the next one we'll look at is the moving day average. You asked for 3, right? And so the next one we'll look at here is the moving day average. I like to look at the 50-day moving average. So over here it didn't break by much. Here it broke by a lot. So this is death for traders, right? And I'm the opposite of traders. So this is something I'd probably be looking at accumulating if I did the work on it. Another indicator you can look at is the 200-day moving average. Okay, so 200-day. Okay. All right. Whoops, did I do something wrong there? Hold on a second. I think I did. Hold on a second. Let me refresh that. I'll go here to charts. Hold on a second, guys. Sorry. 200-day moving average. And what you can do if you want is you can look at when the 50-day crosses through the 200-day moving average. Let me get rid of that. Sorry about that. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to change this here to the 200-day moving average. Indicators, moving average. Here we go. Okay, good. All right. Oh, it was offset. That's why I'm such an idiot. Okay. So 200-day moving average. Okay. Okay. So you look here at the 200-day moving average. And if it doesn't break that level, it could be a buy. And please don't just listen to this crap because this is voodoo, right? I like looking at fundamentals first, valuation second, and then technicals a distant third. So let's now add the 50-day on top of that, and let's make it a different color. Okay, save 50. Okay, here it is. Yeah. So the 50-day moving average. So if it breaks the 50-day moving average, that's usually a negative thing. So what happened here was it broke down through the 50-day moving average more than just a couple of percent, and people freaked out, and the machines kick in, and people start selling, and computers, these artificial intelligence-based algorithms will sell the crap out of the stock because it's oversold. And so if somebody sees that there's support down here at the 200-day moving average, the purple line, then they might start to accumulate there. Okay. Another thing you can look at is you can look at ascending and descending triangles, okay, or chart patterns. And I've done a lot of this in the past, yeah. But instead of that, what I'm going to do is, let me just show you an easier way to do this. I'm going to take a screen print of this here, and I'll enlarge it. Okay. Okay, good. Here we go. All right. So what we can do here is we can look at, see if this works good. Okay. So you can look at channel formations too. Okay. So right here, this was a very healthy channel formation. Let me draw the other side of the channel here first, please. Okay. That's good enough. It's fine. Yeah. You guys get the idea, right? So this is a really bullish chart, right? Bullish chart, bullish chart, bullish chart, bullish chart, bullish chart. And the second it broke down through this channel formation, people started selling. And the second it broke down through the 50-day moving average, people started selling more, right? And I would expect a bounce in the stock right now because it's very much oversold as well. So that's what you can look for as well. All right, let me clean this up here. Don't save. Put my MBA propaganda on the bottom there. Okay, good. Yeah. All right. Okay. Give me 1 second here, guys. And Peter, how are you? Peter is from Romania. Great to see you. You joined a call I had a couple, not last Wednesday, the Wednesday before. It was a finance call I had on a Wednesday. I remember you came on. Great to see you. And I remember you had to leave. You're 19 years old, you mentioned. You had to leave early to go to a soccer game or football game. You're the real football. And I hope your team won. Good to see you. And then, so Peter wrote 777 is jackpot. That's right. I almost got there. Almost. Yeah, almost sevens. Yeah. All right. Good to see you, Peter. Okay. Okay. And then MP said hi from the Seychelles. Oh, beautiful. Good to see you. How are you? Welcome. Welcome. Okay. Next up, Christophe. Hey, Christophe, how are you? Christophe is a fellow libertarian from Canada. So Christophe wrote, Chris, and I think I'm a libertarian. So I grew up in Canada in the 80s, and I loved Ronald Reagan because he took on big, bad communism. I hate communism. I hate anything that stops people from reaching their full potential in life. Yeah. So I love Reagan. And then I came to the States, and, I was like Alex P. Keaton as a kid back in the 80s in Canada. And as a Republican, I came here. I was like, okay, great, I can vote Republican now. And I can't vote Republican. So I go back and forth between Democrat and Republican, depending on who the candidate is. But maybe I'm more of a libertarian like you. Right? It's been a couple months. Hope you're doing well. So Christophe wrote, Chris, as you mentioned, the media and the news and Facebook, I think about this documentary that everybody should watch called Monopoly, Who Owns the World. It's on YouTube. Let's check that out, man. Yeah. All right. Monopoly, Who Owns the World. Monopoly, Who Owns World. I love my spelling gets corrected. Look at that. Isn't that great? Cool. All right. Who owns the world? Okay. I'll screen print this and I'll remember that. Thank you. Thank you. I love documentaries. I remember years ago I was in a store, Toys R Us actually, with Matthew, my middle child. He's a bit older now, and he saw they grew up with iPad, right? These kids. He saw a Monopoly board game on the shelf at Toys R Us, and he said, "Dad, look, they now make a non-iPad version of Monopoly." Okay. My favorite character is the dog. The dog, always Monopoly. All right. Christophe is laughing. He wrote, I went to jail too, Chris. Yeah, I volunteered to help young men. Good for you. Get their GED in a correctional center in the Valley. Good for you, dude. Good for you. That's awesome. That is awesome. I love that. I love when I hear my students are volunteering and giving back. Give and you'll receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. God bless you, brother. I love you even more now. All right, next up, Peter wrote, hey, Chris, hope you remember me. I do. I remember all my students. Do you think that people can multitask? Do you have any tips on how we can multitask more efficiently? Thanks a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the best way to multitask is to plan out each day. And in the very first lesson of my MBA degree program, which you can find out here, I give you a system for planning each weekday. Don't do it on the weekend. You'll drive yourself nuts. So you can accomplish 10 times more every single day. That's right. Because if you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. And we all know what that's like because, we go on vacation or we're not working or in school for a while. And for some reason, we couldn't find the time to work out. So again, you want to get something done, give it to a busy person. Right? And in terms of multitasking, what I love to do, and I've shown you this before, but I love to actually, I exercise while I work, right? So I always do two different things at the same time. And by doing that, I'm able to, take care of my health, which affects my wealth. And I can also work at the same time. It's fun. I'm badly in need of WD-40, which I have on the ground there somewhere. Yeah. So I got the cheapest treadmill you can get. You can get it from Amazon. And I'll show you the model I got. Yeah. And I bought one for my neighbor recently too. All right, so let's go to Amazon. Whoops. Orders. Orders. I'll show you which one to get here. Here we go. All right, let's go to treadmill. And yesterday, by the way, guys, I was doing this webcast, and I put my degree up here. I hung it up, and it broke. And so I ordered this at the same time. Like I literally, as it fell, I asked Alexa, who has attitude, to ship me a new one. It's kind of funny. I was trying to sell a degree that I broke. Okay, so treadmill. So this is the cheapest treadmill on the market because it's there's no bars in the side. So I bought a couple of these ones here. So what you do is you put this under your couch if you want to, or under your bed, right? So yeah, you could slide it under the couch. It's easy to do. And so this is the one I use. And it doesn't come with a desk, right? It's really simplistic. And on this, I think I've taken about, was it 1 or 2 million steps or something on this one the past 2 years. I do 20,000 steps a day. Alexa, what's 20,000 times 365 times 2?
20,000 times 365 times 2 is 14.6 million.
Oh, sorry. 14.6 million. Yeah. It's a couple million more steps than I thought. Yeah. And you also want to create a fun environment for you. Like spoil yourself with nice coffee or tea, whatever it is. Listen to music in the background. You set the soundtrack for your life, which can help you work as well. And so for me, I always listen to Hans Zimmer. Alexa, play the album Interstellar by Hans Zimmer.
Interstellar, original motion picture soundtrack by Hans Zimmer on Amazon Music.
All right. It starts out really quiet. This is the first song. I love it, though. It's incredible. It's incredible. Yeah. Imagine watching a movie with no music. It would suck. So when I work, I like to listen to classical music. I set the soundtrack of my life. I don't like to listen to any singing with words, like from Dre and stuff like that, or Kanye. That's me trying to act young and cool and groovy. I like to listen to soundtracks. And so whatever movie you've seen that inspires you, throw that on in the background. It's great. It makes working a lot more fun, too. Yeah. So I don't want to get a copyright strike, which I've never gotten from YouTube, so I'll end this now. Alexa, stop. Yeah. All right. All right, next up I got Ali. Ali wrote, in my country, we have a securities exchange with about 30 public companies listed. I have noticed that there's no liquidity in and investing in these companies, and it's boring. And then you wrote here, my question is it realistic for an individual or small group of people like me to influence or increase the liquidity of these markets in my country long term and make them worth investing in? Yeah. You just have to make the market much more accessible. And what I recommend is if you get involved with that Securities Exchange Commission or your version of the SEC in your country, what you might want to do is you might want to talk to some of the companies to see if they also want to list ADRs, meaning American Depository Receipts, meaning listing overseas. So for example, SAP is traded in Germany on the German market, okay, on the Deutsche Börse, but it's also trading on the New York Stock Exchange as an ADR, American Depository Receipt. And that can help you a lot to get liquidity as well. Yeah, it's tricky though. And I never recommend anybody invest in illiquid stocks, meaning stocks that don't trade a lot, because what happens is illiquid stocks own you rather than vice versa in a down market. And a lot of hedge funds went belly up in the fall of 2008 because they owned illiquid stocks and they got a lot of redemptions from their funds and they couldn't sell the stocks fast enough. So remember, before you invest in any stock, make sure that they're liquid, meaning that the average daily trading volume times the stock price is like 10 times more than the amount of money you want to invest in that stock. So you can get in and out quickly if need be. Yeah, and also be careful, especially with options. Like I'm doing a lot of work with options now in my upcoming options course. But you got to be careful because options, a lot of them are very, very illiquid, right? And so the difference between the bid and the ask spread can be very, very wide. This one is liquid because it's Coca-Cola. But some less liquid options, the difference between the bid and the ask spread is very, very wide. Yeah, and you also look at option interest and option volume for contracts, which I teach about in my MBA program in a lot more detail, and in my options course coming out soon. Yeah. All right. Next up, Prem wrote, can you list your crypto portfolio? Yeah, it's just those 4 cryptos I mentioned before. Please don't take it as a recommendation to buy. Maybe short instead. But I own, and I publicly disclosed before, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. And the founder of Ripple lives not too far away from here yet. Yeah. And actually, the founder of Reddit lived around the corner from me here, a couple houses down, along with Serena Williams for about 6 months. They just moved, and Reddit's going public soon. Should be good IPO. Yeah, I didn't get to meet Serena. I wish I did. Yeah, she's amazing. Okay. All right. Next up, Jabbar wrote, "Hey Chris, I have a question. A company that's a clothing company is, I think, acting as a SPAC for another company, special purpose acquisition company. Yeah. They're buying an EV company. My question is this. It says under the transaction, for every 3 existing shares, 7 new shares will be issued to the new company of shareholders. Okay, so every 3 shares, 7 will, okay, I gotcha, okay. Will I be the new shareholder? Will I receive 7 shares for every 3 shares I owned in the old company? Yeah, I can't tell for sure. It's tricky too, and I'm not a big fan of SPACs because they're not as regulated. And what you can do if you want to is you can always go to my website, and I did a big thing on SPACs a while ago. So go to Haroun Ventures, my website, search for anything, and then you can see here, enter in SPAC, and then I did a big thing on SPACs here. And if you watch this video, you'll see why I actually recommend and prefer traditional IPOs, because SPACs are not regulated. They've got a shorter sales cycle as well, and a lot of more things can fall through the cracks because of that, because of the lack of regulation. Or not as much regulation, yeah. Yeah. But you're doing the right thing reading the investment offering memorandum, though. Yeah, yeah. And if you're going to put a lot of money into this, what I recommend doing, if you want, is if it's a massive percentage of your net worth, you can get a lawyer involved. You can go to LegalZoom.com and talk to a securities lawyer there as well. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then you wrote, how can I evaluate this new company to see if I should buy more shares before their transaction complete? Yeah. When in doubt, wait. And what I recommend doing before you buy is I recommend you build a financial model from scratch. And you can do that. It's getting chilly in here. You can do that if you want to by signing up for my MBA degree program at this link right here. Because I provide you with all the tools and frameworks you need to analyze any company, including a lot of financial models. And I make it fun as well in terms of how we learn about this stuff with a lot of props as well. We build on things one brick at a time. This is just an excerpt from a live webcast I did yesterday on entrepreneurship. And if anybody wants to watch that one yesterday, I teach about financial analysis for entrepreneurs. What you can do is just go to, I guess you can go to YouTube. Yeah, just go to YouTube, my YouTube channel, or what you can do is go to, I think I put it in my daily vlogs list as well. See if it got indexed here. Here it is here. Yeah, it's called Fearless in Business. And so I did this one yesterday. Yeah, and this was the one I did where I actually dropped. I put my frame up and it dropped, right? So what was I doing here? So you can see there on the back is my frame. You see it? Beautiful frame. It's something I'm trying to sell. You can watch the replay of this too. And it dropped. Let's see if I can get it drop. Oh, here we go. Hold on. I think I got it to drop here. I'm going to turn this down. Now more efficient in year 2. So here in year 2, our cost of goods sold is going to be 50%. So our cost of goods sold in year. So in a second, I just muted myself there. You're going to see $2,000. It's going to fall. The frame. It's going to break. It was this. Stack this here. All right, cool. You can see it okay? Should be good. Yeah, good. All right. Oh, that wasn't, we're now more efficient in year 2. So here in year 2, our cost of goods sold is going to be 50%. Okay, so I dropped it. It was a disaster. I was teaching live. Watch this. This frame, I'm trying to sell my MBA program. I'm a fraud. Watch this. Stack this here. All right, cool. You can see it okay? Should be good. Yeah, good. All right. That wasn't supposed to happen. Hold on one second. All right. Joey, if you're watching, I want you to laugh at me, brother, not with me, okay? Well, I don't need the light anymore, so I did that on purpose. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. I feel like Mr. Bean. Okay. So next up, we've got. So I butchered that one, folks. But anyways, it's kind of funny. Yeah. But I have the piece of the frame. I tried to put it back together. It didn't work. But I ordered another one on Amazon. Great. All right. All right. Next up, I got Mighty Men. Mighty Men wrote, "Hey Chris, do you believe the United States is going to see hyperinflation? And if you do, what is the best asset to have to hedge against hyperinflation?" Yeah. I don't think it'll get to that point because governments understand that inflation can destroy an economy. Like, for example, back in 2008, in Zimbabwe, the daily inflation got out of hand. It was 98% per day. It was awful. And so they had to kind of ditch their currency for a while. The same thing in Venezuela with Venezuelan fuerte, which ironically means strength in Spanish. They had hyperinflation, 1,000,000% in one day. They had to gut and get rid of the fuerte, which from scratch. Beautiful currency too. It looked cool, nice and colorful, like Monopoly money. So I don't think it's going to happen. And back in the early 1980s when I was a kid, I remember things got out of hand. And so the manager of the store of money in the United States at that point in time, being the head of the Federal Reserve, was a guy named Paul Volcker. And God bless him, he passed away. But Volcker basically saw that inflation was getting out of hand. And so what he did was he flew to Germany to meet with Helmut Kohl, and he talked to the Germans about inflation. And the Germans understand inflation well because after World War I, the Deutschmark, there was massive inflation and people had to walk with literally wheelbarrows into the market in order to buy a loaf of bread. And so what happened was the German officials taught Volcker on how to get rid of inflation. And so what happened was in the early 80s, the United States Federal Reserve raised interest rates to about 20%. Scary. But they did that because they knew that if inflation got out of control, they would not have an economy. It was awful. And I remember as a kid, my dad in Canada, he was starting his company and he owned a house. And the mortgage payments were 20% per year. It was brutal, man. It was awful. It was so bad. Rates were so high back then that no companies were founded. And there's hardly any IPOs. Because if rates are high, interest rates are high to fight inflation, then everybody keeps their money in the bank because you make a good return on investment, right? 20% interest rate is pretty good. And nobody buys stocks. And if nobody buys stocks and nobody invests in companies, private companies like venture capital-based companies, then innovation dies. But you have to do it. You got to raise interest rates to fight inflation. Otherwise, you don't have an economy. And so before we get to the point of hyperinflation, I think what's going to happen is the government is going to raise rates. They're going to have to do it. They're going to have to do it. Yeah. It's frightening. Yeah. So, but what's happened is this. So with COVID, so the way it works is governments have two types of medicine. Nothing to do with COVID, but they have two types of medicine to improve the economy. One is monetary policy and the other is fiscal policy. Monetary policy, the policy of money, means cutting interest rates to stimulate demand. So interest rates are basically zero, so they're out of bullets and there's no more medicine left in the monetary policy bottle. So that leaves us with fiscal policy. Well, government's spending a ton of money now on creating infrastructure projects, $1 trillion worth, whatever, and they can't do that much more of that fiscal policy. Otherwise, the country will go bankrupt. And so fiscal policy is done. So there's no more medicine left. The government has run out of monetary policy bullets, medicine, and fiscal policy as well. And so the only way to prop up the economy is to have people spend more money. How do you get people to spend more money? Well, if they feel richer. How do you get people to feel richer? Well, if stocks go up. Well, if stocks go up, everyone feels richer. Everybody spends more money, which helps the economy. So that's kind of like the third hidden invisible hand, as Adam Smith would call it, the great economist, when it comes to helping the economy, is the wealth effect. But you can't have that go on forever. Otherwise, inflation gets out of control. And so I do think the government is going to be raising interest rates quite a bit eventually. When? I don't know. Nobody knows when it's going to happen. Nobody knows if the next Delta variant is going to be egregious or benign. We have no idea. So how do you fight inflation? Well, what you can do is you can invest in something called TIPS, Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, TIPS. And what that means is it's like owning a bond, a government bond, that goes up. And if inflation spikes, it goes up as much as inflation does. Hence the name Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, TIPS. Yeah, but be careful of FOMO. Like it is deadly. Chasing stocks because of a fear of missing out or FOMO is a recipe for disaster. Yeah. Okay. Stevie is Magic wrote, you the man, Chris. Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Next up, Mo wrote, "Hi Chris, what are your thoughts, please, on Peloton stock dropping 40% after earnings last week?" Yeah. So usually what happens is this: when a company gaps down a certain amount, it's usually how much they missed earnings by. Why? Because portfolio managers and professional money managers, they value companies based on a multiple of earnings. So let's just pretend somebody is valuing a company based on 10 times earnings next year of $1. So if their target price, professional money managers, is 10 times $1 next year, that means a PE ratio of 10. Well, if the company reports earnings, and earnings are so bad that when professional analysts update their financial models, and that $1 earning next year drops to 60 cents, they're going to value the company still at 10 times earnings, but 10 times 60 cents, $6. And that's similar to what happened with Peloton. Now, Peloton ran up a lot over the past year or so because a lot of people are, working from home or staying home because of COVID. And so people were exercising at home. And what happened was there was a lot of froth built into that model. Because now that gyms are opening up again, people are getting out of the house and going to gyms, which is adversely impacting their market. So the year-over-year comparisons were tough with Peloton. Yeah. And there's other issues as well with Peloton I'm not going to talk about that I certainly have problems with when it comes to their company. Yeah. But I will say, if you sign up for my MBA program and create your own financial model on Peloton, this might be an opportunity for you. But what you have to do is you have to value the company based on your earnings estimates in a decade or so. Yeah. All right, give me 1 second. Yeah. So and the way I value my companies I invest in is I create financial models and I value them based on my earnings estimate in 5 or 10 years. And so historically, people have called me crazy in the hedge fund industry when I used to work there. They would say, "Chris, you're crazy to own Amazon, or Tesla because they trade 1,000 times earnings." And I would say, "No, you're wrong, dude. They trade at 3 times my earnings estimates in 10 years." So you always have to look long term when you create your financial models and value companies based on your earnings estimates in 5 or 10 years because the market won't do that. Yeah. And you always have to invest in stocks that people are going to like. So Wayne Gretzky, who's my hero, I haven't made a Canadian reference today. I'm from Canada. I have to. It's mandatory. But Wayne Gretzky was very successful in hockey because he didn't skate to where the puck is. Rather, he skated to where the puck is going to be. And I want you to invest in stocks that people are going to like as well. Because if you buy stocks everybody already likes, there's not that incremental buyers to push the stock higher. You need to be long-term focused. As Warren Buffett said, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. You got to be long-term greedy and long-term focused. Buy stocks that people are going to like. That's how I've always operated, and it's worked out well for me. Yeah. All right. Next up, Nick wrote, "Hey, Chris. Hey, Nick. You once mentioned that the best way to raise money is to talk to wealthy people. Yeah. My question is, how do you find them? And what do I tell them before we meet?" Yeah. So the best thing to do is to network aggressively using LinkedIn and do an advanced search for people that have something in common with you. And I teach you a lot more in my MBA program. Would love to have you subscribe to it and join us starting January 10th. And I'll help you network as well. And I'll make your LinkedIn profile. I'll personally do all the work for you and make it amazing with you. Yeah, in our one-on-one meetings. So what you do is you find people you have something in common with. And we have to all realize that business is about relationships first and product knowledge second. And that's why Manas wrote his book. And the title of his book is Bonds Before Business, which makes sense. And so what you need to do is do an advanced search on LinkedIn. And there's a lot more to it. I teach in my program. And find somebody that's similar to you. And the best way for me to explain this to you is to put yourself in their shoes. If I told you 20 years from now, Nick, you're way more successful than you already are today. And this younger person that's 20 years younger than you reaches out to you. And this person went to the same school as you. And they're from the same hometown as you. And they reached out to you and asked for, an informational meeting. Would you take that meeting? Of course you would. So I want you to approach people that you have at least two things in common with. Maybe they went to the same school, same hometown, same organization you're a member of, some charity or whatever it might be, and ask them if they have time for a quick Zoom call. And then once you get that meeting with them, what I want you to do is I want you to bond, and I can't think without my baseball bat in my hand. I want you to bond with them. And I want you to, and this is applicable to everybody, I want you to go to the Twitter profile of the person you're going to meet with, or Zoom with, whatever, before the meeting starts. And I want you to look to see who they follow. And if they follow athletes or something you love, you know what to talk about in your meeting with them. It's a cool baseball card picture right there. Yeah. You know what to talk about in your meeting with them. Sports is great boardroom talk. Or so before you go to any meeting with anybody for the rest of your life, before the meeting starts, find out who they follow. Always find out who they follow in Twitter. It's publicly available, and you'll be able to bond with them in the first 10 minutes of every meeting. You never jump right into business. That's a rookie mistake. You got to bond. You got to talk about something you're both passionate about, or something you have in common. So if you're meeting with somebody that went to the same undergrad as you, undergraduate university, you can talk about that cool bar or restaurant on campus. Is it still open or whatever? They've done renovations to a building. Something you have in common with them. And then what will happen is about 10 minutes after the meeting starts, they're very gently and politely and subtly going to ask you, why are we meeting? And then you talk about what you want to talk about, meaning getting a job, a customer, raising money from investors, etc. And until they say no, in your mind, all you heard was not no. And if they say no, it means not yet. And you have to ask for the sale. If they can't help you, just ask them, do you know of anybody else that also went to the same school as us that I might be able to meet with? Yeah. A lot of people go to these sales meetings and they never ask for the sale. You have to do it, but do it after you bond. I promise you this works if you do it enough time. It will work. I promise you. Yeah. Okay. It's like dating. You only have to be right once. Yeah. Or get a yes once. I had to ask 8 million times. Yeah. She said yes. All right. Next up, Manas. Speaking of bonds before business, Manas wrote, thank you for everything, my mentor. You're welcome. Chris, please. God bless you and your family forever. God bless you and your family way more, brother. Thank you. See you next week and forever and ever. Love and regards to your mom and dad. Thank you. I'd surely have tea with them one day for sure. Thank you. Thank you. I like your emojis. Thank you. Namaste. Yeah. All right. All right. And give me one second here, guys. Okay, good. All right. Next up, we got HNM. LMAO, laughed my ass off. Great to see you. I hope everything's going great with you. I believe in second chances, and I miss you. It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. Okay, Let's Talk Beats wrote, rough. Such a positive mental attitude. These things happen. Yeah. And whenever something bad happens, I tend to ask myself, within reason, what's positive about this? Like whenever we have whiffio moments in our company, it's a VC term for where effed it's over. Things are never as bad as they seem. Things are never as good as they seem. But I always ask myself, what's positive about this? And with frustration comes breakthrough always. Always, always, always. And, you know, I was so frustrated working for bullies in companies for years. And I'm grateful it happened because it motivated me. And so if you're dealt a crappy set of cards in your life and you're working for a schmuck, I want you to embrace that frustration. And that was the subject of my 1,000th vlog, which I'm most proud of. On corporate bullies. It's a minute long. I'm going to take a break while I share this. Thanks. If you bully people at work, if you're a corporate bully, then I want you to keep watching this. Otherwise, don't watch the rest of this vlog. It's going to be out there today. But for you, the corporate bully, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for being such a jerk. And by the way, you peaked in high school and you're so insecure that you treat people poorly. I get it. You're really insecure. I understand. But you know what? In a bizarre way, and I think what you've done at work, treating people poorly, is disgusting. But I think in a bizarre way, I want to thank you. Because you've motivated the people that you've treated poorly to quit and to join another company, or you've motivated them to start their own companies. You see, frustration in business can be a beautiful thing. And I say it with love in my heart. Because if you're frustrated at work because you're being treated poorly, and I've been treated poorly many times before, then that forces you to get outside your comfort zone and get a better job. Or better yet, start your own company. If I can be resourceful in any way, helping you start your own company, please let me know. Thank you. Not the bullies, just the people who are being bullied, like I was. Thank you. All right, thank you for that. For letting me take a break, that is. All right. All right, next up, Prem wrote, hey, Chris, I'm able to see many people marketing for cryptos and giving mouth-watering returns, also showing those currencies going high. How do cryptos actually work? Yeah, be really, really careful, okay? Most of these things are scams. Most of them are. And I've had so many students that I've done one-on-ones with that over the years have gotten absolutely defrauded and scammed out of a big percent of their net worth. Be really careful. If it's too good to be true, it is a scam. Just be careful, please. And you even get seduced by these pricks that what they do is they tell you, do you want to invest? Yada yada. Just give me a little amount first. You send them $100. It doubles. They give you your money back, and you're like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then you put $10K and you never see them again. So just be careful. Please be careful. Always do your own research first. And in my MBA program, I teach you and I give you a gazillion tools so you can do your own investment research first. Yeah. And also in my MBA program, I updated the cryptocurrency portion of it. And so I tell you from scratch how to analyze cryptos. So check it out. We'd love to have you join us on January 10th. Yeah. All right. Okay. And then next question is, where does our money go when we apply for an ICO? Is that a new way of mobilizing money for running a company? Yeah. So an ICO, initial coin offering, it's kind of like an IPO, right? So when you invest in an IPO or initial public offering, you own shares in the company on the publicly traded markets. An ICO is like that, but for cryptos, right? So whoever is issuing the cryptocurrency, right, they might collect the money themselves, or it might go to purchase the cryptos from other people that already own it, depending on how the ICO is set up. And all ICOs are done, or a lot of them at least, on the Ethereum platform. Yeah. I'm going to talk about that in more detail in my course now, in my MBA program. Now, every crypto is a little bit different. Most of them are scams. Just be really careful, please. Yeah. All right. Next up, Christoph wrote, yeah, but then how can the government afford their own debt? If they raise rates enough to stop inflation, debt to GDP is out of hand. Yeah. As long as somebody's willing to buy our debt, America's debt, I should say. Right now, it's the Chinese. The Chinese government owns the bulk of the U.S. Debt. And they were certainly upset with America in 2008 when America reinflated the economy and America almost went belly up. But for China, America is too big to fail for now. And so China is more reliant on America than vice versa, because America is their biggest export market. And what people don't realize is that the American economy is the biggest market in the world for now, until China passed them in 2040. But in America, about 2/3 of the American economy is consumer spending. It's not big business. And so that's why the whole world watches, especially China, whenever America's consumer confidence reports come out, or any government statistic for that matter. And since China, for now, is an export-oriented economy, very much dependent on the U.S. and other markets, they have to buy U.S. debt. They have to. They have no, because of globalization, we're all attached at the hip. They have no choice. And China is very long-term focused, and I respect them for that. Very long-term focused. Like they're talking about, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but they're talking about building this massive space station that's 1 kilometer wide within the next 50 years. They're that long-term focused in China. But part of being long-term focused for China from an economics perspective is what they're going to do is they're trying to make themselves more insulated, more focused on their own economy instead of being dependent on other economies. And until that happens, China still has to buy U.S. debt. And the way it works is it's all relative, right? So the lowest risk in the world when it comes to investment bankers valuing companies and calculating the risk-free rate is U.S. government bonds. It is what it is. You know, the very last company on the planet to go belly up would be the United States at this point. And things can change, of course. But it's been like that since post-World War II, when America's bankers helped to kind of rebuild Europe. You know, America was Europe's bankers. And eventually what happened was, so the U.S. dollar used to be based on gold. And, you know, President Nixon, when I was a baby, President Nixon in the early 70s, took the United States dollar off the gold standard. So instead of being backed by gold, the American dollar was backed by the full faith and credit of the United States. And since then, the lowest risk-free rate that bankers use to value companies, the risk-free rate, is U.S. Treasuries, U.S. government debt. And it will be that way until China and other countries decide that there's another country that has a safer foreign exchange system. At this point, it's the U.S. And people thought it would be Europe for a while, especially with the euro. And that's why people sometimes, when they value companies, they look at LIBOR, which means a London Interbank Offer Rate, LIBOR. But right now, it's the United States. Yeah. And the party stops when China stops buying U.S. debt, which I don't think is going to happen in the near future. Yeah. And the founding fathers of the United States, like, they set up the economy this way on purpose. Right? They knew that you don't run an economy like a business. It doesn't work like that. You have an open market, capitalist market, of course, which rocks. And you make it so that it's easy for you to raise money. Yeah. And cryptocurrencies are the biggest threat to national security. That's why China is kind of outlawing them or creating their own crypto, which is not fair because it's not private. They can track everything. But, you know, as of now, the U.S. dollar is still the reserve currency for a lot of countries. Yeah. All right. Next up, Let's Talk Beat said, cool, calm, and collected. Yeah. When I broke the frame. Yeah. All right. So Shanti wrote, hi, Chris. This is Hari Krishnan. How are you, Hari? Great to meet you. From India. I'm enjoying your live passively, as I prefer to listen today from my mom's mobile. Always awesome you are. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. And we have a podcast as well. A lot of people don't realize that. I've never really advertised it, but there's a decent following. And what you can do is just go to my website and then go to About Chris. And then down here, and I think my face might be covering it in the corner. Do that again. Podcast right here. Yeah. But we have a podcast. It's available. We've been doing it for a long time now. Yeah. It goes on and on and on. So you can always listen here, and I've never actually gone to it. Spotify, I've never clicked here. What does this do? Open Spotify. Yeah. I guess it's here. Yeah. So I basically re-syndicate everything I do here, right? So I guess you can do Apple Music as well. I don't even know. Yeah. I even know we have ratings. Yeah. Cool. No idea. Cool. But you can always listen to it that way if you want to. And let me just check. When was the last one done? How to be a better investor. I guess they do it. I don't even know if there's an intro or an outro.
Welcome to the Business and Personal Development Podcast with Chris Haroun, where you'll find tips on how to take your career to the next level.
Welcome to our 157th weekly webcast. I can't believe it, but we're now in our fourth year of
inside the world. Try not to bash into the. Try to have a nice. And you're.
That's right. That's a Steve Jobs thing. Okay, cool. So it's out there if you want. Looks like they're a couple weeks behind. So although it said November 6th, I was from a couple weeks beforehand. It takes a while to put it together. Yeah, cool. All right. And that's part of my whole policy of write once, read many. Where you create content in one place and it gets disseminated everywhere. Yeah. All right. And give me one second, guys. All right. So Jabber wrote, Chris, I forgot to mention I'm a platinum member now, formerly so. Oh, awesome. Welcome, Jabber. Excellent. I'm looking forward to working with you, buddy. on January 10th. Yeah, of 2022. Excellent. Good to know. I remember that. Thank you. All right. And then we got what Ali wrote here. All my body, soul, and mind wants right now is just to upgrade from silver to platinum live. I hope it will be available in 2023. By then, I should have raised enough bucks to upgrade. Yeah, no, it'll be available. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. I'd love to have you. All right, and Prem wrote, I'm not able to see a discount for the upcoming MBA. Can you help? Yeah, it should be there. Let me go there with you. Yeah. All right, give me 1 second. I'm getting all this sidestepping thing messed up here. Okay, so let me go here to right here. So we're going to go to the web address you guys see, early access, right? Haroun early access. And I did a URL forward last night. Should work. Yeah. It's right here. Yeah. So it's $1,000, which is $500 off for the next 4 days. Plus you get 3 one-on-one meetings with me in gold and platinum. You get 9 plus 3 more. That's 12 in total. So yeah, no. If you go here, if you click, it's $500 off. So you go up here. Here it is, $499 discount, and then you get the 3 payment plan if you want as well. Yeah, no, it's there. It works. Yeah. And let me go here. Yeah, no, it's there. It's there. Yeah. The discount is there. Yeah. All right. You might have gone to learn.harounventures.com. That's why. Go to this web link right here. Yeah, that's where the coupon is. Yeah. And if that's not clear, please let me know so I can. And I'm sorry for any confusion. All right. Next up, Samir wrote, "Hey Chris, I did my research on Ripple, which is ticker XRP, based on your crypto course in Udemy. I've decided to buy soon, but I don't know where to buy since it has been delisted from many exchanges. Any recommendation?" Yeah, it should be out there. I think it's still on Coinbase, isn't it? Yeah. I think I own it through Coinbase. Yeah. I have a lot of wallets as well. Let me go here. Let's go Coinbase, Ripple. All right. Yeah, it should. I'm pretty sure it's here on Coinbase as well. Yeah. No, it has to be here. It has to be. All right, let's go XRP. I think right here. Oh, you're right. It's not here. You can add it to your watch list, read news, Coinbase. Oh, wow. Okay, let me see. Exchanges for XRP. Gemini, I think, still has it, right? Let's see here. I can't remember, man. Yeah. Gemini. How to buy Ripple. Okay, let's do exchange. Oh, it's on Kraken. Yeah. And I teach how to use Kraken as well in that course you're taking. So just check out the portion on Kraken there, and that's how you'll buy it. Yeah, I didn't even know that. Okay, cool. I own it still, but yeah, I didn't realize that. All right. Cool. All right, guys. Well, I don't see any more questions, so have a great weekend. Would love to have you guys join my MBA program. Again, go to this web address here. There's a limited number of spots for Platinum. Would love to have you join. Again, that discount and all the $500 off and a bunch of freebies and free meetings with me, etc. Are available for the next 4 days only. Go to this web link here. Take care. Have a great weekend. I'll see you every Thursday, man. Every single Thursday, team, at 8 a.m. my time. Please click like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. And if you're a gold and platinum member, I will see you for gold and platinum only MBA webcast that starts at 11:20 today, and then I've got a bunch of one-on-ones with my platinum students today. All right, guys, and I will end with this video, which I do every week, which I license from the Silicon Valley Historical Association. And here's that great video from Steve Jobs. Thank you. Take care.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it, that's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.